Happy New Year and welcome to the Last Life Podcast. It's your host, everybody's favorite guys. We're here today to talk about the games it's gaming and the James it's jabling.
It's your host. It's your host.
That's what you get.
Everybody's favorite guys.
What happens when you put a gamer in a room with himself?
The world will
You
never
get the
know.
Last Life Podcast!
That's right. We're all clones of ourselves.
No, because it takes
One
five of us
guy.
to collectively have one life.
How many gamers does it take to have one life? Who knows?
One lick. It takes one lick.
Oh my god. Okay. Hello. I guess this is the podcast we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the best intro ever. Congratulations.
Yeah.
We're gonna win an Emmy for that one. So yeah, we decided we're gonna do a freaking podcast. How's everyone doing?
I'm doing good, Matt. Thanks for asking.
Cool. So I guess to clarify it, we have no idea what we're doing, but we also do know what we're doing.
We've also been on this
so-
call
gamers,
for like
so-
an hour at least.
We've been sorting out audio issues. It's
Yeah.
classic podcast goofs.
I was in mute for about 30 minutes. We were in Google Hangouts for a little bit, and then we decided we didn't want to hang out anymore.
Nope.
No, we thought we were talking
wanted
to
hang
Matt
out. I just
the entire
didn't want
time.
Google to be involved.
I mean, this isn't a hangout. This is serious business now.
Yeah.
This serious.
This is serious business. Last life is not a laughing matter.
It's not. Stop laughing. Not
Speaking
allowed
of
to laugh.
laughing matters, who's starting? Oh, Matt, how
I'm
are you
starting.
doing
It
today?
matters. It actually worked. The pun worked. Congratulations, you did it. So yeah, there's five of us lovely people here today. So we're gonna go around and be like, how you doing? What you've been playing? What you've been doing in your life and your videos and all that? Because we all make videos or something. And then
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about what's a blocker in life right now. Because like, you know, like the long block in Tetris, like it can clear Tetris, but it can also really screw you up in Tetris.
Yeah,
Just like a big
especially
deal.
if it comes at the end. Oof.
I also just want to credit Dennis for saying, like, the thing on here is, like, what's a blocker in life right now or other life update? Like, yo, I just got a tooth yanked, that sort of thing.
Well, no, I was thinking of that because, like, I think of, the sorts of podcasts we might listen to, like the Writing on Games cast, and there was a good moment where Nico talked about, like, his tooth being pulled or something, and I was like, where do you find space for this stuff?
Yo, I just realized this is the perfect opportunity because Nico might be listening to this podcast, and I can finally say, what up, Nico? Thank you. Thank you.
You
What a
sound
cool
finally said
guy.
it.
This
This
his
podcast
Twitter
is
handle.
brought to
It's
you
important.
by Nikamook Cheese.
What the fuck are you on?
Kevin, you don't know your extended Writing on Games lore.
It's also like 11 p.m. right now, just for reference.
Kevin,
Well,
shit.
And
for
Dennis
that.
has a coffee.
EST.
It's 1 o'clock
Yeah,
in the
drinking
a
afternoon.
coffee at
thanks.
11.
Where's my coffee? Oh, there it is. Hello there.
Okay, so what's up?
Ooh.
I'm Matt. I guess that just because like some people might not know who everyone is here, we'll just say like our channel and our life. So I'm MML's commentaries.
Your whole life. So, like, from the moment you were
Yeah.
born.
I was born on December 30th, 1995. It was a snowy evening.
I was
fact,
born on
actually,
a pilot
fun
ship
fact.
with tons of apples. Sorry.
Can we have a no heckling rule?
I'm done speaking.
You are
No,
one-
okay,
If you were born one day later, you'd be exactly 9... No, December 30th. No, you are exactly 9 months younger than my brother.
That's cool.
That might be-
He's March 30th, 95.
That's quite the connection there.
Yeah.
We're bonding on a whole other level now, Scott.
I kind
Okay,
of wish it wasn't 9 months, but that doesn't matter.
That could have been a baby in the middle.
Oh my god. Okay. So what have I been playing? I've been playing freaking Yoshi's Crafted World
Oh,
for the
No
Nintendo
spoilers.
Switch.
I haven't gotten it yet.
I'm not. Okay, I'm not gonna like spoil the game or anything.
Good.
It's a Yoshi game.
But I think it's just a thing where it's just like I don't know how to feel about this freaking video game because there's just some things where I'm like, okay, this is really really clever and really cool. Like they have some of the coolest levels I've ever like played in a Nintendo game in like a long time, just in terms of like, because things are like actually built out of crafts and they actually do things with it. Like Woolly World was like, oh, everything's built out of wool, and it's like, okay, like that's pretty cool. But like Craft, it's like it's literally like a kid like built this in their room, and it's like you're playing it. It's like amazing. There's like one part where you like put a bus stop together, and then Yoshi just sits on the bus stop and it's like, yo, what's up? And then a bus pulls up, and it's like one of the coolest parts of the entire game. So it's like there are moments like that are just full of charm, but then at the same time I'm just like, why? Like there are just some gameplay things I'm like, why isn't it just play like a regular freaking Yoshi game? Why did they change this? And then you have to go back and play the levels like 20 times if you want 100%.
Yeah, like
and it's like
everyone who like talks about it says like, why do we have to play each level like 5 times?
no, that's the big issue, because it's like they have like the main stuff for like a Yoshi 100% thing with like the red coins and like the health whatever indicator it is having like a high health count, and then like getting all the flowers, right? And so they have that, but then it's like you go back to the world map and then there's this spirally dude who's like, yo, what up? I need you to find some freaking butterflies, right? And then you go into the level again, and then you go and find the butterflies. And it's like cool because there's like little cardboard cutout butterflies like in the background of the level, and you have to like look in the background, and it's like really neat. But it's like I could have done that while playing through the level the first time.
So what you're saying is it's kind of like the Krusty Krab racing segments in the movie game of SpongeBob.
Yes, it actually is. It actually is.
That
is
sounds
actually
really
a good
bad.
comparison. But like imagine, but it's like that. It's like actually like every level in the game around 4 or 5 times. But the thing is, it's not like you need that to like beat the game. Like that, and that's what I've been doing. Like after I did like 1 or 2 of them, I was just like, I'm just not going to do this, and I've been having a lot of fun.
It sounds like Lego Star Wars. Like that exact thing,
I mean,
where you're supposed to,
heard.
where you have to like unlock later power-ups to go back and get everything.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Yeah. But no, so it's like there's that, and then there's another thing that you can go back to the level and do. It's called like playing it on the flip side. And that was like the main like marketing thing where it's like you can play the level backwards, and it's neat because you get to see like how the levels like put together, which is really cool, right? But it's like I'm still playing the level again, and then the things that they have you do on the flip side are just like very basic fetch quests. So it's not
Finding
like
the dogs.
like yeah, they have the Poochie pups.
Like I mean,
So
I
it's
haven't,
Fetch quest.
I haven't got the game, but I did play the demo where you did that. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
and I agree. Like aesthetically, it's really cool because it's like looking like every like sitcom has like this kind of like this main set, and you always see the same wall the whole time. Obviously, because one wall's taken out of the room for where the set is or where the cameras are. But like, it's like turning around and just looking at the cameras. I can see the like
Right.
So like that's kind of cool. That I always thought, and so but like the gameplay wise, it just seemed like I'm playing the same level backwards.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not like there's less levels in the game. Like, it's not like that was like a lazy excuse to pad out the game. You know what I mean? Like they have as many levels as other Yoshi games. They're distributed differently. So it's not like there's 6 worlds. It's like they're mini worlds of like 3 or so levels each, and there's like a lot more of them. So it's not like there's less levels. It's just like they just decided that they want you to go back to them 20 times. And I'm like, I don't need that in my life. Like, I got a job. I got like videos to make. You know, it's like I got a freaking Mario Odyssey video to make. Now I'm answering
Respect
question
my
number 2.
time.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like I don't understand that whole like thing. I'm just like, I want more things to do. I'm like, I just want good things to do in my video game. So it's like, so I don't know whether I'll ever go back and do that. Like, I 100%ed Woolly World, and like I mean, like, doing 100%ing the original Yoshi's Island is really hard because you have to do it all in one go. Which I like about that game, but it's just sort of like a thing I haven't fully done, but I have beaten every level in the game because the GBA game is a bit more lenient with extra levels and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't know whether I'm going to go back and hit freaking cardboard cutout butterflies or whatever else.
Because it's all costumes, right? Like, that's all it is.
Well, the thing is no, they net you flowers, and flowers are used to unlock other levels. And if you get every flower in the game, I think they have like a sort of end game platforming challenge thing. So I'm pretty sure it's like that sort of setup, like the typical platformer thing. The costumes are just things that you can buy with coins, and they have like these little like really cool looking slot machine kind of things, but it's not really a slot machine. It just like looks like one, because really it's just you put in your coins and you get a random costume, and then that random costume will never show up again. So you just kind of just spam coins at it, and then you would get all the costumes. But the costumes are also like, they're not just aesthetic, they're sort of like an easy mode. Like if you're like, oh, I'm dying a lot, then you put on a costume, because then it's an extra little bit of health. So I haven't been using the costumes because they don't want to.
Okay, we see how it is. You're a pro gamer.
Yes.
No need to brag.
I'm a pro gamer. Because the
Only
other game I'm playing is
real
Sekiro,
gamers
but I'm
play
going to wait
Yoshi.
because someone else in this call is going to probably talk about Sekiro for a while. So I'll hold off on that.
Yeah. Wait, before we go on though, Matt
Yeah.
introduced himself, and then we spent like 10 minutes talking about Yoshi's Crafted World. So how about we just all introduce ourselves in terms of names, and then we'll go on to answering the rest of the questions.
Works for me. What's your name?
I have an alternate strategy where we each talk about Yoshi's Crafted World for
10 minutes, and then we introduce
Well, let's do
and then
it.
at the end introduce ourselves.
Who wants to talk about Crafted World next?
I'll talk about it because I haven't played it yet.
No, okay.
That's a good idea.
But actually, okay. Scott? What's your name? Is it Scott?
let me check my birth certificate. Yeah. Okay. My name is Scott. I'm Hat Wearing Gamer. I'm the guy with the freaky accent from the Southern Hemisphere that's ahead of the rest of them by several hours. So it's always the next day for me. Even after they get up in the morning, it's already past midnight for me most of the time. Unless
You're in
like-
the future. You're
Yep,
a time traveler.
I live in the future. It's about 20 past 1 in the afternoon, the day after the rest of them. Are we revealing the day we're recording this? I don't know. It feels...
It doesn't matter to me.
It's a
420.
secret.
420.
It's for me. It's 4:20 for me. Actually, no. I'm sick
It'll
of this
be
crap. It is
4:20
24. I'm sick of this
There you go.
month day garbage. Yeah,
I mean, day
although
month
that
year
said
is the
though,
better order.
that said though, I will accept 420 because it is a meme, and there's no 20th month, so there's no alternative day where it can be where it actually can be 420 in the
true.
not America world.
Yeah.
And gamers will only accept memes as dates.
Yeah, sure.
Gamers never get dates.
I'll have you know. No. Yeah. All
right.
That's me. Someone else introduce themselves.
Whomst next?
Corvus.
Who's 3? That's Dennis.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
we're
gotta
doing
go
it
with
in
the
the
number
order we
You
counted
gotta-
before?
Okay.
Yeah,
do the
go.
number
It's you.
order, my guy.
Alright.
Okay. What's up, gamers? It's your boy. My name's Dennis. You can call me Lamhoot. You can call me whatever the fuck. Oh, are we allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we should.
Fuck yeah. Dope.
Okay,
Shit, dude.
idiot.
What up?
Look, you gave me this power. I mean,
What's up,
I've
anuses?
had a similar
Alright.
instance on a stream where someone came in with this like 2-part username. I was like, oh, what do you want me to call you? Like the first part or the second part? And he said, oh, call me whatever you want. I'm like, all right, stupid face. That's what I'm calling you.
Stupid butthead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah!
I guess that's it.
That's you.
Wait, how far are we? What are these
Just
intros?
yeah, what's
supposed
your
to-
channel? Because like half the people on Last Life, I assume, don't know who like at least
Half
like
of us are.
half of the people
Yeah.
are. So maybe some context for like what they do.
Cool. Yeah, my name is Lamhoot. You can check me out on youtube.com/Lamhoot. I
I
make
didn't say my name.
videos about video games, and sometimes I talk at length about programming, and yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds really uninteresting when you really put it into words like that. I guess
Code is
that's
pretty
our
cool.
curse. Yeah, dude. Coding is so dope. All right.
Oh, let's be coding buddies.
Who's next? Do I whoosh bang zip
Kevin.
it over to
By
somebody?
the way, I'm
think
Hat Wearing
that's me,
Gamer, and
yeah.
I do videos on like sequels and remakes and whatnot. Anyway, moving on. I didn't actually say
Yeah.
that in my part.
Yeah, that's true. He didn't.
Man, I don't
And
think
he
you
wears
said your thing
hats?
anyway.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
If I put on a hat, am I the hat wearing gamer?
No.
You're the hat-wearing gamer's brother, or
9 months.
related
No one wants to be the
to
hat-wearing
his brother.
gamer's
Actually, by 9 months, you're related.
Yes.
Okay, is it going to me
Alright.
now?
Yes.
Yeah, Kevin, what's up?
Okay, yeah, so I'm Kevin. Everybody just assumes my name's Bobby because my channel is Bobby Broccoli.
I thought you were Italian for so
I
long.
thought you were
actually
actual
thought-
broccoli.
I thought
Dennis
his real
thought I
name
was
was
Italian for the
I thought
longest
his real
time.
name was Bobby Broccoli.
Like he'd never met me, but then like I told him like, yeah, no, I'm like very Scottish.
That's really disappointed.
Um,
I mean, be proud of your heritage, but like, it's
Yeah.
lamer than being Italian, I guess.
well, I mean, the channel's named after like a talking vegetable I made for a comic strip, so it's not much cooler, the actual story.
Did that talking vegetable have
Was the talking vegetable a carrot?
There was a carrot in it. He was Chris Carrot. The main
nice.
character was Bobby Broccoli. And then
But
there's
Bobby
also
broccoli
there's,
was like a plum.
there he was the main character. And then there was Peter Potato.
Nice, nice.
There was Marty Mushroom. And
This
my favorite,
alliteration.
my favorite was Dylan Pickle.
Oh my god.
I love
This
it.
is like
I love
This
it.
is the level of
2.0
comedy
here.
that you
It-
like.
It's all alliteration except the last one.
Yeah, but Dylan
Dill.
Pickle is like
Dylan Pickle is such a good name.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a Rugrats reference.
yeah, kind of.
It's a Rugrats reference.
Well, no, the second
Yeah,
kid was
but-
Dill, but this is Dylan.
Yeah, yeah.
No, Dylan and Dylan are the same name.
Yeah, no, but it's because dill pickle is like it's like a kind of pickle.
Yeah, I know.
That's what the dill in the Rugrats was a.
That's
they're,
the
They're both
joke!
I know.
they're both plays on the same joke.
Shut
If
up.
two jokes
Okay,
are the same joke. Anyways,
Which one's
Kevin,
the real one?
Tell us
How
a little
about
bit
yeah.
about your YouTube channel.
I got big on SpongeBob shit. Same as
Hey.
Dennis.
Of course you did.
Kind of moved away from that. I'm doing like, I'm not exactly sure where my channel's going. I'm probably gonna do some video game stuff, but I'm kind of doing broader analysis.
Yeah.
I don't know. You'll see. I have 2 videos in the works right now.
Noise.
Yes, that's all.
One person left. Or are they even a person?
I'm a crow. Ka.
Caw.
All right. Well, that's his input. Let's move on to the
Ha
questions.
ha.
Yeah, now that's it.
Okay, okay. Scott, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Metroid Prime for the first time
Whoop, whoop.
ever.
For the first time?
It is a pretty darn good video game. It has overtaken Portal 2 as my favorite first-person shooter.
Are you playing on GameCube?
No, I'm playing in the Wii version. The
Okay.
version that doesn't suck. Because I actually tried.
Oof.
I tried
Oof,
playing.
that's a fire take.
I tried playing the GameCube version at Summer Games Done Quick last year. Like, I was just there and it was already set up. Like, some guys were going to do a race. And I said, oh, can I just have a quick go with the GameCube version of Metroid Prime? And then they said, sure. And then I picked up the controller, started moving Samus around. And I was like, wow. Like, wait, this
Yeah.
got critical acclaim? What? This is garbage.
You gotta remember though, that was back before like FPS controls were like a thing. I mean, if you
True,
like go
yeah.
back and play GoldenEye on or even Perfect Dark like on the N64, like you go back to that and you're like, these controls are weird, but if you get used to them, then you're like, oh, there's an actual game here.
I can't be like the thing is, what I have played GoldenEye, but like it controls exactly the same way as the first person segments from Banjo-Tooie, and the Banjo-Tooie ones, I'm very familiar with those. I'm very used to those
Right.
controls. I can deal with them. But and when I did play Metroid Prime, it did like on the GameCube, it did kind of remind me of that. So like I tried to adjust my brain to
Right.
to go with those. There were 2 problems. One, the C stick was a stick and not buttons. But the second thing was like pressing R to aim upwards. Like in hindsight, after having played Super Metroid, I kind of get where they were going with that. but
Right.
I still don't think it translated well. But like the Wii controls in the Prime trilogy for the Wii release,
Yeah.
they're utterly beautiful, and I love them.
So you're
Yep.
gonna notice something. When you get to Prime 3, you're gonna notice immediately that the difference between a game that was made for the controls versus
For the
one that
Wii
was
and
adapted
wasn't.
to
I'm
because
right.
it's
there.
super apparent.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
Prime
right
3
there.
is like miles ahead of 1 and 2 for the Wii release.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
But
just
yeah,
in
like,
terms
it's
of like
actu-
control.
Yeah, like that does make sense. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
because the game's designed around it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But it's
I'm-
like it's
so
not
I'm
even like
looking
subtle.
forward
It's
to
like
that.
super slow the aiming in the first two, and then Prime
Yeah.
it's like almost 1-to-1 basically.
Yeah.
Oh. Super slow gaming. Interesting. I don't know. I guess
I don't
I'll
know,
just
man.
find out when I get to Prime 3. And I'm really keen to play the rest of the Prime trilogy, although I heard that Prime 3 in terms of its Metroidvania-ness isn't quite as Metroidvania-y as the first two.
Yeah.
It's more like Fusion, I'd say.
Yeah. That's what I've heard.
It's like it and Fusion kind of belong in their own little camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
interested to see what your take is on 2 because there's just the whole like back and forth. Like, is 1 better? Is 2 better? I am in the 1 camp, but a lot of people have come out being like 2 is really, really good, which is weird because like back when it came out, people were like 2 is stupid and poopy,
I
but
don't
now
like
it's
2.
like,
I
but
don't
like,
like dark. I don't like light and dark world mechanics.
yeah,
Oh.
I think
thanks
it.
for the
I think it
spoiler.
works.
It's like the premise of the game. It's not a spoiler.
What?
It's like the core premise of Echoes.
Like if you like saw like even like the
Even the
box art
cover,
of the
yeah.
game, it's
Yeah.
like there.
Oh.
it's the gimmick on the back of the box.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I have the Wii U release of the Prime trilogy, so I don't have the back of the box.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
mean, I guess
but
I'll
anyway,
just
you'll find out.
yeah.
You'll see what 2's about.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
I'm interested to see how that turns out.
Yeah.
I guess.
Overall, I have been like getting into a lot of Metroidvania games. Since I played Super Metroid. Well, I played a few indies. Like I played Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. Back
Such
in
a
like
freaking good
2017. And that was amazing. And then I played Iconoclast last year, and I really enjoyed that one. And like, you know, when I came to like understanding where Metroidvania came from, like, I mean, it's in the name, Metroid and Castlevania, but I was like, you know, I'm really enjoying these Metroidvania games, but I've never played Metroid or Castlevania. But like Super Metroid's aesthetic never really appealed to me, like the whole caves, science fiction labs and stuff like that. I don't know, I just wasn't really into it. But then like I played it, I got a bunch of like gift vouchers for Christmas at the end of last year, and I used it to buy an eShop card, and so I bought Super Metroid with that, and then I played it and I fell in love with it, and now I've elevated it to my 3rd favorite game of all time, beating every single Zelda.
Damn.
It
That's a
pushed
big,
Twilight Princess down a rank, and that's a big deal. Because anyone
I
knows
could
that-
never,
Twilight
like-
Princess is very good.
What?
Twilight Princess is very good.
It is very good. But yeah, and like
Yeah, I still need to play it.
Yeah, I've been playing like a whole bunch of Metroid games, and I played Castlevania Symphony of the Night, but I didn't think it was nearly as good as the Metroid ones. Just saying.
I think it's just
Anyway,
like, do you like the more RPG mechanics?
No,
'Cause, like, the Metroidvanias
RPG
are more-
mechanic is so annoying. It was like,
Right.
but like
But people
although,
don't like that.
Although that's not my least favorite thing about Symphony of the Night. The thing that, like, it's so minor, but it happens all the time. It's the freaking knockback. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I want to murder the knockback.
I feel like they just like took that from the older Castlevania games and like didn't think about like what it would do. Because
Yeah.
like back in like Castlevania like 1 or 3, like I love Castlevania 3 as someone who like sucks at Castlevania 3. But but like the knockback there is very intentional because it's like everything in those games is super deliberate. It's like it's sort of like freaking a Souls game in many ways. It's like you hit a button and it's like you gotta like sign your life away to like maybe possibly let your whip go through. It takes like 2 whole seconds, but that's the whole point. Is it's like you gotta anticipate things and like really commit to everything. Like you can't curve your jump arcs unless in Castlevania 3 you can do it with one character, I think. It's been a minute for me, but it's like all of those things. It's like you commit to it because it's very deliberate in how it's done. But then in Symphony of the Night, it's like that's not what that game's about. But now it's like, oh, we're still gonna like knock you back and make you fall down.
Yeah,
3 freaking stories or whatever.
Yeah, that was especially annoying. Alucard, you need to learn your stuff. But anyway,
has anyone here played like the GBA Castlevanias? I'll take that as a no.
All right. I wouldn't mind giving them a try or checking them out.
Yeah.
Because it's still, as far as my understanding is, that they're all Metroidvania as well.
Yeah. I'm just curious because I haven't played them either. Like, I want to know whether some of those things from Symphony of the Night are like fixed or not. But I just haven't looked into them enough. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I've talked enough. Someone else say something.
Dennis, what are you doing?
What am I doing?
Yeah, what are you playing?
Shit, dude.
That's what he's playing.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
Shit, dude.
Kind of playing the game.
Real-time poop simulator.
It's my favorite game on the Xbox One.
It goes by its I like its alternate title too. It's called SpongeBob SquarePants. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I don't know. Just playing the game of life. I got a computer recently. I'm now a capital G PC gamer.
Ooh.
And I discovered Humble Bundle, and now I've just kind of been playing some games I got on Humble.
Nice.
The only one I've really stuck with, I played through Little Nightmares, but it was kind of garbage.
You didn't like it?
Yeah, I don't know. It was like there were a lot of points where like it was like a platformer and spooky aesthetic, whatever, right? But there was like a lot of like puzzles involved in the platforming that were like not really, or like they seemed evident, and then you try them, and then like the game would it had like really jank animations, and something would always like throw you off and make it seem like, oh, okay, I'm not intended to do that. And then you'd try something else and you'd get stuck and you'd Google it and you'd find like a ton of like forum posts of people complaining about that part, and it turns out you were right from the beginning. And it was like that happened like in like for the game being like it's like a 2-hour game, for that to have happened like 4 times, I feel like was too much. You know, it was like twice an hour to like run into something ridiculous. It was just like oof. And then yeah.
That game, it has just so much lost potential, I feel.
Yeah, it like there's so much of it that's like I don't know, like I really thought there were going to be more sections with like those chefs. That was honestly the most interesting part of the game, and then there's like 2 rooms. That's it. Spoiler alert.
I feel like that's like the thing that like everyone talks about with that game. Like whenever people like say good things about the game, it's always that area with the chefs.
Oh, fuck, there was this one. Okay, if ever I'm to make a video about this, I would make a video about this one room where like it's the one where like all the people at the end are like eating food and you have to jump across the table and they're reaching for you with their hands and everything. And it's like it's like super easy to die there, and every time you die they reset you back to the front of the room, and it like pisses you off because you have to walk all the way to the other side just to get on the drawer that you can jump off of that lets you get back onto the table. And at one point I got so pissed I was like, can I grab the drawer and pull it all the way to the other side and just start from the beginning? And it like there's no obstructing, like there's no geometry that blocks you.
Right.
So like clearly they knew players would try to do this, and instead of like rewarding them for that sort of behavior, they punish them by your character just lets go once you pass a certain point, and it's like, oh, fuck right off. Like it's so hard trying to funnel you into a very specific thing. I don't know. That's enough about.
Sorry, I'm gonna be honest. I blanked for like 30 seconds. I don't know what game this is.
Little Nightmares. The one with like you look like a kid in a raincoat. Like a toothpick, if it
like very low poly look, but like it's a beautiful game, but like has that sort of low poly aesthetic.
Yeah.
Is it?
But yeah, you
design that has that low poly aesthetic. Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned the bad checkpoints.
Oh,
That's
they're terrible.
They're terrible. I have a section of that in my video. Shameless plug.
There's so many there's so many of those like I don't even fuck no, I don't even want to talk about this. Okay, fuck this, man. I'm sorry. Fuck Little Nightmare.
I think the game's strongest aspect is the how it conveys its atmosphere.
Yeah.
In several parts of the game, but it keeps dropping it, and it never like takes that atmosphere to its fullest potential.
Yeah.
Like there's so many great parts that I could see fleshed out.
Yeah. I feel like they could also like punish you less, like you were like you were saying the terrible checkpoint systems, and just the fact that like there's so many of like those chase sequence where like if you don't know what's about to happen and you haven't started sprinting at the just right time, you can't, like, it's impossible to complete.
Yeah.
So it's like
stupid.
Yeah, so like the fear of that is like you're being chased. Oh, you got to run really fast, but like every single one of those, you fail the first one and then you start again and you ace it because you know that it's coming, right? It's like, oh, as soon as I walk in front of that door, a monster's going to chase me.
And that's the challenge, and that's
that's the challenge. So like the first time you do it, you walk past the door opens, the guy eats you, okay. The second time you start sprinting past the door before it like you're a fucking psychic. And then and then the dude is like a mile behind you and it's like, okay, so it's like there's no in between. Like you can't, like, when the scare happens, it's like if you were not prepared before it, you can't, I don't know, man. There's no way anybody could beat this game on their first try, and that's a mistake for a horror game. Like there should be a chance.
Yeah, no, I don't think the challenge is necessarily the problem with that. I think it's more like with the lady, for example, after you get caught by her the first time, because you're 100% going to get caught by her the first time, it's not scary the second time.
Yeah,
and the first time I was actually like, it kind of frightened me the first time. But the second time I'm like, just get this over with.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I've already seen it. I was already frightened by it.
Yeah, it's like they set up like there's this like this anticipation with all of like the antagonists, and they set them up, and then you have the first encounter, they blow your mind, and then every subsequent one is like, okay, but like, do I really have to sit here for like 30 seconds while this dude like psychics me into the air? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Oh God. That's terrible, Matt. Yeah, that's pretty much. I was playing that some other game I got on Humble too. The duck game.
Is
I
it
keep
duck
calling
game?
It, but
Duck game? Like the
called,
game? It's called
no,
Duck Game.
it's not Duck Game. It's called Mutant Year Zero, but it sounds better as a Duck Game. It's like a. See, that's the thing, right? As a console pleb, I guess you call me. Now that I'm on PC, I finally can like experience genres like tactics games and stuff, which are super dope.
Yeah.
And this one is pretty good, and that's all I have to say, I guess.
I really want to get a PC just because I need to play the new XCOM games.
Yeah.
I pre-ordered the new XCOM. Like I'm talking like XCOM Enemy Unknown, not XCOM 2. But at the time I had a Windows laptop with like maybe 2 gigs of RAM, and it was just like really not equipped for that kind of game, so I booted up and it's running at like 5 frames per second. And I'm like, okay.
The only thing that bothers me about that genre is like it's really, really cool, but like you don't like mechanically, like it doesn't need to be running on like a high-end PC. Like there were these old like Final Fantasy games called Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
And they did fantastic with like this isometric view. And I wish like there were more people doing that with tactics games, and you didn't have to have like a massive PC with like, because ultimately you're just like you're looking at things from like super high up. You don't need like incredible. I don't know. It sucks that it's like an interface thing, but also it's like a hardware thing.
One game I really want to play that I haven't gotten yet is Into the Breach, because that's very much like an isometric tactic strategy game. And it sort of fits that old school vibe. And as someone who loves the old XCOM, like it's a very different game, but it's in that similar vein of being a turn-based tactic strategy game, and I'm just very interested by it. But I just haven't bought it yet, so it's something
nice
I'm gonna get eventually.
Most RPGs and strategy things, you have to like, okay, I'm dedicating 2 hours to this. Into the Breach, you can be like, I'm doing a level in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Because like each round
That's
is
really
like
cool.
5-6
So I'm-
turns max.
Yeah.
So because it's
Oh,
like
shit,
it,
really?
it's not so
Yeah.
much about like winning and beating all the enemies on the map. It's more like you have this many buildings. You need to prevent as many buildings from getting destroyed as possible. So it's like it's about mitigating damage instead
Yeah.
of like
okay,
winning.
okay.
It's very stressful though.
Yeah.
I like
So
I
our
couldn't
units
play it during
have-
school because I was like, you always have to like sacrifice one thing, and it just stressed me out. And I was like, this is what I do at school. Like,
Yup.
why do I want to do this for fun?
Yeah.
That's dope.
So yeah, I'm
And
looking
units
forward to
have permadeath, I believe.
Kind of, yeah, yeah. So
that. Permadeath's always
So-
a fun time.
because like
Wait,
yeah, so like individual
Sorry, go
units
ahead.
can die, but then let's say like the city dies because there's like a power grid. You restart and you're like you can send one of your still living units back in time, but the rest have to stay. So like there's like a semi-permanent upgrade
Oh.
progression. So like you lose
Interesting.
like 2 to 3 units and all the stuff you've invested in them, but one of them you get to restart the game like with what upgrades you
Huh.
had at that point when you lost.
and you can just get lucky with upgrades. I beat the game on my first try. I didn't get to... Just because of the upgrades, I got like a really good web
There's
one, I
definitely some
believe.
chance to it, like based on the
And-
rewards that you get for certain missions.
Yeah, I got lucky. It's still a really good game, though. I still experienced the full thing, I feel.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
But
I
yeah,
guess-
back
This was-
to...
I guess
Are you
Kevin.
done, Dennis?
Kevin, what are you playing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Kevin, what the hell have you been up to playing? What kind of?
So actually,
jambles
like
you
I
been
just
jabling,
finished
boy?
my like school stuff. So as soon as that happened, I dropped like $100 on the eShop, and I bought like a bunch of stuff.
Nice.
So I bought Golf Peaks.
Uh huh.
It's like that like nice like clean looking isometric puzzle game, where it's like a tile based thing, and there's it's like a golf game, but it's not like actually based on physics. It's like you have cards, and each one is like movement based. It's like this.
Oh, I remember you sharing that in the freaking
I don't think
Discord,
it was me,
right?
but I think it was Cider.
Is that you?
I think it was him.
Maybe.
It's a very
yeah,
nice
it might have been
looking
James.
It's-
yeah, I want to
game.
get
So
that.
like you have like movement cards where it's like you roll 3 spaces or you jump this many spaces, and then there's also like jump followed by a roll, and every stage you get like a set number of cards, and you don't have to use them all, but usually you have to like there's a specific combination that you need to use to get into the hole. So there's like conveyor belts and like holes that teleport you across the map and ice. So like each world there's like there's 109 levels,
Yeah.
and each like world has
Dang.
a different mechanic, and I liked it because I didn't feel at any point like I would need a guide, and I didn't, because I find a lot of puzzle games it's like at a certain point you're like, okay, I'm gonna use the guide, but this one, like if you try for long enough you'll figure
Right.
it out, and it was nice to have a puzzle game like that for once.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
killed it
yeah,
in like
yeah.
2 days though. But it was like $6 or something.
It's short. Right, so it's worth
Yeah.
it. It was a good $6.
It was a lot of fun. The music's a bit repetitive because it's like I think like a solid 15-second loop sometimes, but like
my God.
for what I was paying, I was whatever. This is
Lovely.
This is fine.
So $6 down, 90.
I bought
What else you buy?
I bought Baba Is You. I only played like the first world.
I love that
I'm
game.
gonna wait on it. I'm gonna wait on it till
Oh,
after
I love that
exams, 'cause
game
it's
so
just a
much.
little bit too much to think about right now.
It's so clever.
Can you explain that game in like one sentence?
You define the
It-
rules of the game's
It's
mechanics using on-screen objects.
Yeah. You basically just
fuck
set
does
the
that
rules
mean?
of the game with the game. So basically there's like basically you start a level, right? And it's a top down like turn-based movement game. So it's just like you like hit an arrow key or whatever
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
switch, you move the stick and you just move over a tile, right? And it's like cool, you move around and your goal you would like typically is to get Baba, who's like a little white guy, to to a yellow flag, right? But the
Okay.
thing is that rule set is only is defined within the game. So in order for you to be controlling Baba, there has to be a rule set that says Baba
rule
is
sets,
you.
there's literally like,
And then in order for the goal to be the goal, it has to say flag
well, no, so
is goal.
there's literally like
Okay.
objects
flag
on
is clear.
screen. So in the top left is usually going to be Baba.
Yeah.
That's one block. That's another block, and then you.
is
And that's
is
saying
a block
that you, the player, are Baba.
as a block.
And then there's another set of blocks that say
Right.
Okay.
flag is win
And then
and block is push.
yeah, it's win. That's what it is. And so that tells you, yeah.
So
So
what is like the interface then? Are you like mostly interacting with like those rules and like changing them and stuff?
well, basically, you're moving around, and then you interact with various
Oh,
objects based
sorry, I
on the rule
misunderstood.
set,
Okay.
and you interact with the rules themselves. The rules themselves are
So-
always
so
pushable
you're
objects.
rearranging,
Also.
like,
okay,
sentences.
Sorry. I thought
So-
the rules were like
So
sitting on
that
top.
you'll have.
Okay.
Yeah. So, for example, you could make it so that way, like, let's say that there's a reason why Baba can't get to the goal, but there's a way for the goal to get to Baba
yeah.
through whatever reason. Like, maybe there's a rule that says goal is float, and then you can, like, float over the wall, which is a thing you can do. And then, like, I don't know,
Well,
like, there
basically-
are ways you could do it. But let's say you could change the rule set so that way you could control the flag and then set Baba to be the goal. Or you could set it so that you're controlling the flag and your goal is the wall. Or you could set it that you're controlling the wall and you're moving towards Baba. And either way, just based on what rules you set, that's the determinant for clearing the level.
So it sounds like it's kind of like Scratch or something. It's like if Scratch met push or something.
Well,
Kind of, to some degree.
Like if you were
I mean,
like
they're all
if you had,
puzzle
like-
levels.
Yeah, but like you have like blocks of like code kind of, and you're like pushing them around to like write the rules you want.
Yeah, kind
considering
of.
that like those
Yeah.
rules will allow you to like they have physical locations and stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, that's pretty fucking
Yeah.
cool.
So like for
Goddamn.
example, there's like there's a system with like keys and doors, right? So you have like a
Okay.
door that's a locked door, right? But in order for the door to be locked, there needs to be a piece of code, a piece of set
Yeah,
of blocks
like
that
a
say
rule
door
that
is
says
shut,
door's
right?
shut. Okay.
And then you can have a key that says key is open, which means the key will open anything that is shut, right?
Okay.
But let's say that the key is blocking your way to the goal and the door is just somewhere in the middle of somewhere, right? And
Yeah.
you can't push the key, but there is a rule set that says door is push. So what that means is then you can the solution to that puzzle would be to basically flip it so that way door is open and key is shut. So then you're opening the key with the door.
with the door. Okay. That's
I
a
just love the way
really
that sounds.
weird ass. I wonder what like bug.
well,
led
this
to,
is part
like,
of a game
somebody to
jam.
come up with
It was like the 2017 game jam winner.
Goddamn, that's really hot. That's really cool.
Yeah, I've been I bought that a little while ago and I started playing. It's like, oh my goodness, what a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
So
I've only
freaking
done
good.
like the first world in
But
that.
I've been wanting to keep.
I pre-bought
Yeah.
Cuphead, which came out yesterday, and it is very good. Like,
Yup.
it's exactly the kind of game I like playing
Oh shoot!
for Switch.
Wait, it's out?
Because I
It's
haven't
out
had
on
anything.
Switch.
I haven't had
Oh, I
anything
thought you
to
meant, like, the
play,
DLC.
Cuphead
No, the
before
DLC 's not
because
out.
I don't have like a PC that can run it, and I don't have an Xbox.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it on Switch too. I played it through a lot of it with my friend, and we played a lot of it in co-op, and it's just a blast.
It's
It's insanely good. Just the animation
well, just,
alone
I
and the
turned
music.
it on, and then it had that like effect where you have the split of red and blue colors. So it's just like every bit of it sounds like an actual 1930s cartoon. Like the music and how
Yeah.
like
It's
actually
insane.
buck wild it is. Like I can't get over it.
It's so well done. And now you understand like why it took so long for that game to come out, because they like did it the real deal.
How long
like,
was
they did
the,
it
like,
authentically?
process for
you
that?
know, there's very little.
Like how long was that game
What?
made?
They drew out individual frames for a lot of it. It was in 3-4
Because like
years.
2015, I remember seeing initial trailers for it at like the Xbox
Yeah.
E3,
Yeah,
and you just didn't hear about it for like years. And then it's like, yeah, we're launching next week.
yeah, because they just had to do all of that raw animation, and like so little of it is like digitally animated. They drew as many individual frames as they could to get that authentic
and it doesn't
feel.
have that feel like a lot of like I guess cinematic would be the word, where like everything is highly detailed. It just like because everything is in like one boss room, they can make the hit detection just be seamless. Like everything just interacts like you'd expect it would.
Yeah. I remember back in like 2015 when they showed like the trailer and they showed some of the boss, and people were like, well, why isn't there like regular levels? I'm like, do you realize how hard making regular levels would be for that game? And then the game comes out and it has like regular levels. And and they're like the worst. They're the worst part of the game, but it's still like they made freaking full levels of that. Like that's crazy in terms of like how they drew
honestly,
all
like,
that.
I didn't realize I wanted a game that was purely bosses so much, because it reminds me of like the arcade games I used to play all the time, but like only the bosses, and where like it's basically the same thing as that, where they're like super tough and super annoying, but because you have enough tries to learn it, it's just like that's normal and it's reasonable to have a boss that hard.
Yeah.
And they're fair, or for the most part. There's some issues with the game, but I think it's mostly fair.
Most of the issues just kind of stem from just like color stuff, where it's like you can't always see the purple things.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with like the foreground.
Cuphead,
where the foreground sometimes blocks like the small things that are flying, but you just kind of teach yourself to be moving all the time.
I've considered picking up Cuphead, but like, it's just that when people talk about how hard it is, I'm just like, oh gosh, I struggle enough to beat games.
There's like there's a simple difficulty on everything. Yeah. Like I'm playing it on regular, but every boss has like an easy mode. So honestly, just playing it to see the art might be worth it.
So there's like a cup half full and a cup half empty vert modes.
There's a comedian over here.
Actually, yeah, because I'm pretty sure easy mode you can't progress with it, and you miss out on some phases.
Oh, okay.
So
I think it's like what they make you do is you like go to an island, and it's like you have to beat all these bosses on regular to get to the next island, but like you can like get to everything on the island through playing easy mode. And it's just because the next island's bosses, like their easy mode is going to be like the first island's boss is regular. It like ramps up pretty quick from island to island.
Right.
Yeah, and for a game that's intended to be a challenge and to be satisfying for that, I think that's okay.
Yeah. But you still get a lot out of it, even if you like don't get far. Like I like games like that where it's like you don't need to feel like you need to like beat the whole game to feel like you got your money's worth. I feel like Baba Is You is going to be one of those games for me where I'm going to get late in the game. I'm going to be like, I have no idea how to solve this.
I do really like how it's super open about like you got to this phase out of this phase, like because it's
it like does a full like progression.
Yeah, like I don't know why more games aren't like that. Like
and
I guess some like it would mess with like kind of like how diegetic the game is, where it's like it kind of takes you out of it. But this game has no like, it's not pretending like it's an immersive experience. It's like it's a cartoon.
Yeah. It works.
So Corvus, what have you been playing?
Oh, we still got like a million more games from
No, this is the only
Kevin.
I bought this the last one I bought, which I haven't played. It's called Audio something. It's like it's Circuits.
Audacity.
This is
Switch.
That's my favorite
Audacity.
This was the one I didn't look up
my friend.
before, and I wish I did, because it's honestly kind of shit and it's boring. Because it's like you have to connect circuits, but it's all based on like music cues. But I just like I don't have an ear for that, so it's like a music based puzzle game, but it's also not optimized for the Switch. It's clearly made for like a mobile phone.
Oof.
But they just like stretched it so all the
Gotcha. Yeah, that's the thing with the Switch. I think people ported a lot of mobile games to it.
Yes!
Like, mobile device. And it's like, no.
Did you see there's a Santa tracker on the eShop? There was
not?
around the holidays. There was a Santa Claus tracker, and it was clearly like a mobile app, and it was just like a 3D globe. And if you opened it on Christmas, you'd see like Santa Claus flying around. Like, what? Hey kids, let's see where Santa is. Like that sort of bullshit use case.
Yeah. It's like, hey kids, let's see where Santa is. Boots up Nintendo
Yeah.
Switch.
And it was like $16 too. Like it wasn't even like $1. It was
Not
so
even worth
expensive.
anything more than $1.
But you know someone bought it, so they made money off of it. That's the thing.
I really hope not. Some fucking poor parent.
Supply and demand.
Game of the year.
Santa tracker.
Game of the year 2019.
Christmas
Santa Tracker.
Day.
I'm waiting for your video now.
Only playable one day a year, fellas.
One day in a year.
Yeah,
Alright.
yeah, that's it. I'm
Corvus,
good.
what you've been playing? I already know what you've been playing, but like, what
Well,
you've been playing?
First of all, I didn't actually introduce myself.
You did.
It's
You,
okay,
I'm a
you don't
pro.
know.
you said that was it, so like, you asked for that.
I was joking. I'm a Joker. Speaking of Joker,
Joker's out
that
in
character's kind of a cool character. I played a little bit of him in Smash. He's kind of neat.
Does he
He has a
live in a
lot of
society?
mobility.
Yeah.
He
Has anyone tried the stage builder?
I haven't.
not yet, but I don't think you can play that online, can you?
Yeah, you can.
What?
No,
Oh,
you can't.
sweet.
No, you can't play stage builder stages online, but you can like
okay.
go look for and download other people's stages.
That's so stupid.
I
Like
saw a
I can
sex
only
one.
play with friends online, so I just can't play stage builder stages. I only play against
I
friends.
think that's how it works, but I haven't looked into it, so I mean I could be wrong about that.
There's one where
I
Mario
don't know, knowing
eats you and he
Nintendo-
keeps you out.
But it looks
I
like the
know-
most comprehensive stage builder yet. Like it's really cool what I've already seen like people do just
Yeah.
through like Twitter.
There was a
The
wiener going up
layering
and
looks
down.
really cool.
Yeah.
You can layer like animated stuff in the background.
Yeah, like the wiener. There was
What?
a sex
It was-
one.
it was very
like a man and a
intricate.
woman laying down, and there was like a wiener in the background going like up and down.
Gosh.
It
I
was
mean,
very
what do you think people
detailed.
are gonna do? That I mean, this has always been Nintendo's problem. It's like whenever
There's
they make
one
a
where-
cool online feature, like
Yeah.
people are gonna throw sex into it.
You know those like red like burning platforms?
Oh my
Someone
god!
made one. Someone made one where like Mario's sitting at a table, and it's called like Mario eats a spicy meatball, and it's just those red burning things are like going to his mouth. This is the future, guys.
There's some really funny ones.
Oh my god! I love it.
Also
I've
that,
seen multiple stages which is just Peter Griffin, and then the stage is just Peter Griffin from Family Guy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Those
no.
kind of like just like ones made by children are the funniest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Made by
I mean,
dumb
Dennis talked about this
teenagers
in
are the
his.
worst.
Yeah. I mean, Dennis talked about this in an old Splatoon video, but they'll be uploaded to like the like whole stage builder infrastructure by Daddy because it's like
Oh,
the
yes,
Daddy Switch
true.
account.
Yeah. Yes, Kevin, that's the one. Can that be wherever we post our
Can this be the thumbnail?
our podcast? Can that be the thumbnail?
No, the thing that this thumbnail doesn't show is that all these, there's lots of
No.
moving parts.
Yes. There's lots of movement.
Hello?
It's really good.
Oh my!
Oh my
And of
goodness.
course, the stage is called Climax.
So great.
Ridiculous.
Well, what else are you gonna call Final Destination?
I did
Tune
not
in next
know
week for
that.
more hot gamer jokes.
So Corvus, what?
Well, first,
You know
first
what
off,
none
you
of
can
us
introduce
did?
yourself for real.
Yeah, for once.
Oh my goodness.
We've only been
Well-
podcasting for an hour now.
Yeah, it's okay.
Alright. Yeah.
They'll find
I
you.
make extensive videos about indie games, Nintendo games, non-Nintendo games, whatever. It's
I love how
Quite the
that's like-
variety.
those are the three
Shit.
categories you give to video games.
This is the three
It-
horsemen
it
of
pretty
the
much
apocalypse.
is.
Nintendo and not Nintendo.
because Nintendo is such a large category,
True.
and
That's pretty cool.
I somehow end up making like a 10-hour in progress 10-hour series.
On
so there's that.
Super Mario
really dope.
Odyssey.
Yeah.
Odyssey, yep, I'm that guy.
Every
Haha.
goddamn moon.
I make a 15-minute Mario Odyssey video. Well, maybe. I don't know how long it's going to be. Corvus makes a 15-hour. It's like, that's how that works.
Oh yeah, the sand video is one of the longest, 89 moons. It's almost an hour and a half. So I'm looking forward to the lesser videos
Yo,
that
Cloud
are going to be
Kingdom
coming out.
is going to be fun.
Oh, Cloud Kingdom, I have so much to talk about with that stupid cutscene. It's the most retarded thing. But yeah, that's for the video.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
What have you
I've been playing Sekiro. That's a game.
Sekiro is a game.
Am I right, fellas?
I haven't
Sekiro
played
is, in
it
fact, a
yet,
game.
and I don't think I will. But I did
Sekiro.
save
And that's
my
perfectly
team in a trivia night the other day.
A-okay.
Shadow's climax twice.
With my knowledge of
What?
Sekiro, that it has not been out for very long, I was able to save my team in a trivia game, the trivia night the other day. Sort of.
That's
Nice. Lovely.
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That's how you...
Wait, what happened?
He knew that Sekiro was out and saved the trivia night.
Because of
Oh,
Sekiro, I saved our trivia game. Because I knew something about Sekiro, and no one else did.
Oh,
Sekiro.
that's sick.
Yeah.
See, that's the sign of a
How-
true
how do-
gamer,
how
and
do you
that's why you're
actually
on this
pronounce the-
podcast. I like you. Thank you.
True gamer life.
Sekiro
I'm-
sounds
I am
like
Is
a
it
a
true
Sekiro
gamer.
or is it Sekiro or is it...
sex hero.
I probably pronounce it wrong.
So, okay, what do you
It's
think about
Se-
Sekiro?
it's Sekiro. Sekiro. Sekiro.
Sa-
Actually, that would
Sakura.
require an H at the end.
Sakura.
Sekiro.
Ogami.
Sakurai.
Sekiro.
Suck.
Sekiro.
Sekiro is actually
Kuro.
just Sakurai's side project while he's making Smash Bros.
Yep, definitely.
Sekiro
I
is
thought for-
actually Kid Icarus Uprising 2.
This is now a Kid Icarus Uprising podcast. Opinions, please.
I've not
Give-
played
Post in
I
the
love Kid Icarus
post in the
Uprising.
forums. We'll read it and we'll
Like a
we
dedicated Kid Icarus Uprising podcast where we all cosplay as the characters and like do voice acting and everything. So like I'll be like who's gonna be Pit, and then like I'll be freaking Hades, and then someone's got to be Veridi and like Palutena. I don't know. Anyway,
I have a Princess Peach outfit. I
can
can
be-
join.
that's kind of close to Palutena.
Except it's different color, and you need green hair as well.
Well, I can dye my hair permanently
Good.
because
There you
I'm good at making bad life decisions.
That's the real epic gamer way.
That's true.
Don't do
That-
it.
Don't do it.
Just like paperclip a couple like green beans to your hair. You got green hair. That's how you do it.
Green eggs and ham.
Wait, you're trying to get green hair?
Palutena
Theoretically.
Palutena has green hair. Listen, here's what you do: you get a couple of bottles of Sprite, you drink them, or you don't. You just pour them on the floor, and then listen. You take them, you take the cap off, you shove the bottle into your hair, and then you put the cap and you screw it, and you make sure some of your hair is in the bottle, so when you screw it, it stays. And you do this with like 5 or 6 bottles, and then you have green bottles all over your head, and you have green hair.
Palutena,
That sounds
everyone.
painful.
It'll hurt only if someone pulls on him, but otherwise you'll look really
Am I
cool.
gonna have to cut my hair to get it off?
No, you just unscrew them and then they're off. You never done that with a bottle?
With my hair?
Yeah, you just put it. You never put like a bottle. You've never put a bottle in your
I
hair?
can't say I have. You're alone.
Oh, dude, used to do that in high school. We had to play like a play, and one of the characters' names was Soda Pop. and that was, like,
was
the
that
whole
The
bit, and we
Outsiders?
had,
Was
like,
that The Outsiders?
bottles of soda? Yeah, from The Outsiders. Yeah, and there's Pony Boy, and he was like
What?
actually a horse. It was
He
good.
wasn't literally
Good
a
times.
horse.
Well, on that note, we now know what Canada. We now know what high school was like for Canadians.
Damn straight.
Oh my god.
All right, so I'm actually gonna talk about Sekiro now.
You
Yeah,
have
let's
1
do it.
minute.
Oh no.
No.
We're out of time, fellas. Next time on Last Life
No,
podcast.
no.
But
What's
this is our
up?
last.
All right. So, Sekiro, I would say, is probably my favorite From Software game, and one of my favorite in general, I think. Because even the level design rivals Dark Souls 1 and Bloodborne, which is crazy. Yeah, that's a crazy thing for me to say.
Yeah.
It takes some time to truly like get into it and realize how well designed it all is, and how connected the areas actually are. Of course, there's a linearity to it, but
there is.
There
I
has
think it's
to be.
cool that you
That's
can
how games
go
work.
over to the freaking Hanada estate pretty early, so that way if you're like stuck on the main path, you can just be like, I'm gonna go over to Hanada estate in the past and like go battle a spear guy or whatever.
Yeah, it's weird that there's only. I think I'm close to the end of the game, so I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure Harada Estates is the only Bell Buddha thing that you go into the past with.
That's interesting. I'm surprised there wouldn't be more of that, especially because it's done so early. But it's a really cool area. It's one of my favorite areas of the game I've gotten to so far, but I also haven't gotten super far in the game.
Have you beaten that area?
Yeah, I beat it today, actually. I beat the Lady Butterfly, and I was so
Heck
excited.
yeah, dude.
It was a good time. But okay,
she's a great boss.
Yeah, I agree. I have this theory about the game, and like why like some people are just like no, and why some people are like yes, and I think it's just because the tutorial is so bad, and I think it's just like because it like teaches you the controls and like how to control the game, but it does like there's never a point where the game like really teaches you how the like whole posture health system actually works. It's just something you either figure out or you don't figure out and get frustrated, and it's just like a mess kind of, because I think the game's like really fun when you're trying to like figure out with an enemy like what your strategy is going into the fight, which is just something you didn't have in a lot of other Soulsborne, like the Soulsborne games. It was just like dodge attack, where here it's like, oh well, I could go for like full defense and just go for the posture, or I could be like, I'm gonna go offense because I want to lower their health enough that I can like super do the posture, or it could be one where it's like, I can't raise your posture at all, I gotta drain your health. And it's like those are things that you kind of figure out dynamically over time that just didn't really exist before in like the Soulsborne games. But then like people will go and be like, oh well, you just kind of just spam dodge all the time, and I'm like, spam the deflect button all the time, and it's like that's true, but that's to me, I guess that sort of misses the point of what the game's kind of going for. But you might not have ever like gotten that. You might have ever like figured that out, because the game doesn't really do a good job at showing you what it's actually trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, the saying it's just deflecting is, I guess, conveying the game as more shallow than it ends up being. Because, so like for the posture, I think you just learn about how posture is more important than health as you play the game.
Kind of like Wii Fit.
Like,
Sorry.
yes, just like Wii Fit. I love that comparison.
No, but it's true. Okay.
Does Sekiro have rebalance board support?
I think you. Sorry.
Are you rated?
Are you
rated obese?
I don't want to go too much into this, but in case you didn't know, Wii Fit has this weird focus on like balance, as if like it's like the key contributor to your health. Mostly because that's basically all the Wii Fit balance board could determine.
Well,
like
it's yoga,
balance.
right? I mean,
it's yoga, but like it's really like you gotta improve your balance. Good balance is gonna help your digestion. Balance is so key. Get a good posture. So that was the joke.
That was the joke. Thanks.
What if the Wii balance board isn't actually like about weight balance or like weight distribution balance, and it's actually about like work-life balance? You know,
you get on it and it's like, whoa, you need a vacation, instead of like, whoa, obese.
It's like, whoa, you need to get some friends.
Well, you sit at your desk all day. Stop it!
You need to have lunch with your coworkers. Fuck off.
Fuck
Go
off,
have a
Wii Balance
beer.
Board.
You need to exit the house for more than 9 hours a day.
Have some Tillamook cheese. Oh my god. No,
But yeah, Sekiro.
so that's my theory with the game. I think like a lot of people like because I was listening. I mean, speaking of Tillamook cheese, like I was listening to the whole like Nico's breakdown on the writing on Gamescast of Sekiro, and he's like stuck on the spear guy whose name I don't remember, and then the chained ogre.
Seven Spears.
I think that's the male Wii Fit trainer.
The like the mini boss in Hirata Estate. The sword, the spear guy in Hirata State.
Oh, the spear assassin, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he couldn't, and he was stuck on both of those guys. And it's
Wait,
like,
what do you mean both? There's only one.
No, he was stuck on that guy and the chained ogre. So it was like, oh, if he dies on the chained ogre, he's like, oh, I'll go to Hirata State and try and beat the spear guy. But then I like die to the spear guy, and it's like, and like you just hear that whole breakdown. It just literally, the whole problem is that he doesn't understand the game, and it's like, and it's not, you know what I mean, it's not something, it's like that's not his fault.
Yeah,
right.
It's not his fault because it's like the game never teaches you how it works, and then the first boss really where you kind of learn how it works is either the dude after the chained ogre or is the spear guy, who's really best beaten with a mechanic that you might not even have unlocked yet, and is a super counterintuitive mechanic, the Makiri counter, where it's like you dodge.
Counterintuitive?
It's counterintuitive. It's like, hey guys, instead of parrying or what's the actual name for it in Sekiro? Deflecting. Instead of deflecting, how about you dodge, which is the thing that everyone's like, oh, you shouldn't dodge as much in Sekiro. And how about you dodge into the boss, and then that'll counter it. And it's like that. And like once you get the hang of it, you're like, okay, I get it. But like from a pure standpoint of hitting the dodge button to counter something, it just doesn't compute. And then figuring out the timing for that is a whole other level. So it's like once you get it, it's like, cool, I get it, right? But in terms of just pure instinct, it's a whole mindset that you just have to break, and it's super hard to do for people that that didn't pick it up. Where for me, it was like I went in and beat the chained ogre, and then I went in and then I finally figured out how the game worked with the guy right behind the chained ogre. Like I finally figured it out because it was like he was a guy where it's like if you try and dodge, you're gonna lose. If you like try and attack him, you're gonna lose. The only way to beat him is to deflect everything, and then you kind of understand how health and the deflection like play into each other and things like that. So it's like that dude like taught me the game, and it's like, why isn't that dude like really early in the game like the first boss? Mm-hmm. Because the dude in the opening tutorial area before like there's the forced death sequence that's in every FromSoft game since Demon's Souls, before that it's like there's a mini boss there, but he's so easy that like you can beat him just by like spamming buttons and you'll probably win, and so you don't actually like learn the game. So it's like I feel like that dude needed to be super early in the game, so that way it's like that way you understand how health and posture play into each other, when you need to go full posture, when you need to go full health, and when you need to interplay between both. Because then like what's gonna happen is Nico's gonna beat the spear guy through sheer luck, or he'll like figure out the Makiri counter, and then he's gonna go and eventually get to Lady Butterfly, and then Lady Butterfly's just gonna kick him in the shins, because that's a boss where you can't just deflect and win. You need to lower her health to a point that you can, actually like raise up her posture. So it's like this whole interplay that's really cool and really well done in my opinion, but it's just something that just people just like the game just never tells you about it.
Yeah, the learning experience is really interesting. I think, first of all, Makiri counter, I think works well. You can deflect thrusts, but Makiri counter is much easier because you can dodge into it.
Right.
I think the problem with Makiri counter is that for some reason it's part of the skill tree when it's absolutely integral with the game.
It is. Yeah.
Like it should just be something either a skill that you get or just already part of your moveset.
Yeah.
But the learning experience is interesting because
just super
I think
counterintuitive control scheme.
I think the mini boss that really beat it into me, because, well, like the Chained Ogre, first of all, I learned how to beat him just by baiting out his lawn or his like dive grab. Yeah. And then I would just jump on his head to break his posture, and I would just keep doing that, and also use his fire weakness. And so, like, that doesn't really teach you. I mean, that's a good like way to get someone into the game, but it doesn't really teach you what the game's gonna start pushing you into.
But he also has some real BS hitboxes there. There's some nonsense there too.
Yeah, for me to get to the point where I baited out his dive grabs, I had to get grabbed by failing to dodge his close-up grab, and I just either the hitbox or the dodge invincibility frames are just messed up. I don't know. Yeah. I realize the iframes on the dodge is not very much compared to previous games, but there should be some consistency there, I think. Or maybe I just suck. I don't know.
Yeah, we all suck.
But yeah, I know, like with the Guardian Ape, the hitboxes on some of the grabs are absolute garbage. So I think that's consistent in the game. For only grabs, mind you. But so the 7
Honestly,
Ashina
the hitboxes
spears
in general have been pretty good throughout the game, like compared to like say Dark Souls 3.
Oh yeah, the Dark Souls hitboxes are garbage. Absolute garbage.
Yeah.
The only hitbox problems in Sekiro are the grabs. So I've been recording footage of Sekiro. I noticed that when I was facing the purple apparition of the monk boss, which is not a spoiler, so no worries. I jumped over one of her slashes, and then the second slash went over my head.
Right.
I'm like, holy crap, what a cool hitbox.
Yeah.
Like, and I guess some of the seven Ashina spears, I noticed that when he smacked his spear against the ground, there's like a shockwave from it that still hits you. Still kind of feels bullcrap. I think they should have narrowed that hitbox. So I don't think it's perfect, but it's a huge improvement over their other titles.
Yeah, it's probably the best. But I mean, they kind of had to, given that the whole game is about being up close and personal. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
But like that, it also like that doesn't excuse the fact that the hitboxes should have been better before. But like it is what it is. But it's a pretty good game.
Right.
It's a good game.
And it's overall like not a big problem because back to the learning experience, 7 Ashina spears or Ashina 7 spears, whatever his name is, in the Ashina Reservoir was the first. I shouldn't say first, was the boss that really hammered into me what the game was about. Because I died so many times, like 100 times to that boss when I shouldn't have. And I eventually because the thing is, if you play defensive, you're dead. And by defensive, I mean you put distance between you and your opponent, and if you're not attacking, you're dead. You put yourself in a severe disadvantage because you're forced to deflect without any benefit to it, or not as much benefit to it. You just at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
And if you dodge, you're at a disadvantage unless it's against certain moves that let you get some health off. But the point I'm making is that I learned eventually to always stick right on him, always attack him, and then when he deflects, which is a clear indicator, that's when I know he's going to attack, so I can prepare to deflect his move immediately, move back into him, and keep attacking him.
Yeah.
And that is the game. That is the game. Once you learn that, the game is so much easier.
Yeah.
Matt, you guys are talking about
then,
Sekiro right now, and I had to mute myself.
I'm
again
just,
do something on
I don't know, I'm real interested.
On my other computer, real quick. I'll let you know again.
Because like they didn't talk, because Boken, like he's got his podcast, and he might be in this podcast at some point. But like they didn't talk much about Sekiro, and I'm just real interested in like because he's someone that actually like knows the game and still doesn't like it. So I feel like that's the perspective I need to hear to like really understand like what's going on. And it could just be different strokes for different folks, you know? Like,
I think it is based on my Twitter conversation with him.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's working out for him.
Yeah. It is what it is. But hey, we're at like what, an hour 15?
Yeah.
So
and we've answered the first question.
Well, I was gonna say that like
I'm not even a sentence into what I've written on my notes for Sekiro.
Yeah, but that's okay. So I think
that's okay.
I think at this point, unless someone has something going on in their lives that they're like, I really want to talk about this, and I'm totally down to talk about this.
I really want to talk about my toilet is clogged, and I do not have a solution to fix it.
Call a plumber.
I do not have a plunger.
Damn.
So I pooped at work today.
Matt, I'm about
because I don't have an option.
Whoever's talking about pooping, I'm gonna unmute
always
myself.
just
that's my life story.
Wait
2,
until then. So you've got your entire weekend ahead. If you need a poop, you gotta go to your work to poop.
Yeah.
Yo,
I'm
poop
just
is good
screwed.
fertilizer. Just do that. Easy solution.
There you go.
But yeah, so
I'm on my
what?
mid-semester break for uni. That's a thing.
I was just gonna.
Yeah.
I also got a tooth yanked. No, actually, that was a joke.
That was a good joke.
Well,
But
great joke.
Even though I'm
Funny
on my
joke.
mid-semester,
Calling back to like an hour ago.
even though I'm on my mid-semester break, I had an exam in the middle of it, which is really.
I'm pretty
dumb.
sure like a lot of universities
I'm
don't
like-
let
Did you have to like go in?
in the middle?
Yeah, I
of-
had to go in and
Yeah.
like sit an exam that went for about an hour or so. It was less than an hour, 50 minutes, but
Damn.
I think I did
They,
okay.
they straight
but
up don't
it's-
let profs
it's
do
just
that
like,
at
why?
certain universities because like if you schedule a week, they schedule that week so students don't commit suicide because that's the reason they have those weeks. You can't just give them work during that week.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's super, super important. Like, school is stressful for a lot of people, and it's just like you need that time off. It's important. I mean, it's the same thing with like work too. Like one of my friends is a tax accountant, and like during like those busy seasons, like she'll like go into work at like 9 and leave at 3 a.m. only to go in at 9 again. Like that's just not healthy.
No.
And so I think it's really good that like at school at least, like at school it's like when you have this time off, like this is time off and you shouldn't have to like work. But
yeah, but like I mean, I had the exam which I spent most of the few days before it studying, and like
right.
thing is, I have another exam on the first week back.
Lovely.
Yeah. So I'm pretty much spending like my only real full-on time off in this break
studying,
is
yeah.
pretty much the Easter weekend that I'm dedicating to not doing anything uni related. But then
Nice.
as soon as Tuesday hits, it's back to studying.
Back to the
lots and
grind.
lots of maths. You guys like numbers, right, Dennis? You're an engineer. Yeah, numbers are alright.
So I was
yeah.
gonna say that. I was
So
gonna say that
that's the
I'm
thing.
2 exams away from being done my undergrad, and I'm gonna have an engineering degree.
Wow! Congratulations, Bobby Broggles.
Gonna be an adult. finally.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
That's my line. Don't use it.
End of the
Yeah,
end of
Otherwise
an
it's
era,
gonna be
dude.
weird not like being because like even if I go back
Yeah.
for a master's, like a master's is not the same as undergrad. It's like
Yeah,
it's
it's like a
basically
different
just like
vibe.
you're working,
It is.
but like you're getting a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like this is, I don't know. Like next week, I don't have anything planned. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like, I mean, I've been talking about this a lot with people recently because it's like for a lot of people, like not everyone, obviously, some people like, I mean, Scott is going to uni now. But like for a lot of people, it's like they go through like high school and like that, and then they go straight to college. So it's like your whole life up to a certain point has just been student, and that's been your like identity.
Yeah.
And then when you graduate, now your identity is something completely different.
Yeah.
And then it's like you have to like work to meet people. You have to like put in effort to like figure out what you're like doing, because before you're in this environment where you're just always with peers all the time.
Yeah, like I've worked at places for co-ops, so I have like a lot of experience on my resume. It's just like I gotta choose something, and like I gotta.
Right.
It's either like I hop jobs or like I commit to something that like it's gonna be like test engineering. Like if I stay in the same thing, and like nobody wants to be in test engineering for their whole life. So
Yeah.
it's basically like a prereq at this point that you need to get a master's if you want to do anything higher than like entry level work for Eng, because like all the places that need like design, like if you're designing circuits, you need a master's or even like a PhD. It's just I don't know, like the requirements for all the jobs have just like gotten larger over the years. And like I was talking to my dad, and like he's a manager now. He's like, I probably wouldn't have hired myself back in the day with my same requirements. It's just they need more qualified. Like the only thing to differentiate people is more degrees, or like you've worked in the industry for greater than 5 years.
Yeah, with some fields it's just hard to like stand out. So it's just kind of like the way to do it is just to like continue to work, like get more for lack of a better term, just like higher numbers on like, years done X, years done Y, what degrees you have.
I mean, the fortunate thing, like at least for Eng masters, like you can get them pretty much entirely funded, or like you can have like a little bit of like
nice.
You have enough to like get by. It's just you have to kind of like live like a student for 2 more years.
Yeah.
So I'm not that worried.
But like you're doing work that's like not like student level, so it like feels like the most depressing thing.
It depends. It's really highly supervisor dependent. Like you really gotta get into something that you know you're gonna have a future in, because like the industry is kind of just fucked, and like the whole optics like trade war that we have with the US right now, it's like crippling the optics industry. So all the places that I probably had a good chance of getting into right now are on hiring freezes, because like I don't know, they might ban Huawei, they might ban all like Chinese telecom in Canada. So
yeah,
the whole basically like
I mean they've done a decent chunk
and like
of that
it's
here.
honestly something they probably
Huawei
should do, but like it's still gonna have a huge economic impact.
Absolutely, there's giant repercussions for it.
So yeah, that's my life right now.
It's a whole thing. Yeah.
Bless you.
Thanks. Is anything Gesundheit for a cough? I don't know.
I say bless you for everything.
Yeah. So I think unless we've got any more tooth yanks, should we move on to the actual forum questions?
Yeah, so the way this works, since this is the first podcast, is like we're making posts on the Last Life forum, basically polling people for questions. So we've been gathering questions, and we've also been sourcing questions from other places like the Discord and things like that. But generally, just the forum is the place to go.
And who shines through? Who is the king? Who is our knight in shining chariots? Who saves our last lives?
I wonder.
Every time, our Lord and Savior, on this great Easter weekend. It's Chariot Jesus himself. Can we segue into this?
Yeah. So Chariot Rider asks.
Take the leash.
It said there have been some studies.
Sorry, what do you call those that the chariot guys use? Like, is that a leash, or is that a? It's
reins.
Not a whip. Reins, yeah, like Santa's sleigh. Ah.
Yeah, like Santa's sleigh, sure.
You've been spending too much time on that Santa tracker.
I really gotta know where he is, man.
You better watch out. You better not cry.
You better not suck at Sekiro Last Samurai.
Sekiro! Back to Sekiro! Alright.
No.
Chariot Rider asks, there have been some studies showing that the music you listen to during your teenage years will most likely influence your taste or be the sort of music you listen to or enjoy later in life. Do you feel that this is also true of games? How has your upbringing affected the sort of games you enjoy today, and how have your tastes changed over time?
Okay, so when I first read that question, I actually thought he was talking about video game music because the first part was talking about music, and then I later realized, oh no, wait, it's just games in general. Okay, that's a different.
Oh, I will say I love me some chiptunes though.
Yeah.
Like there's some bops.
It's alright.
There's a video that went up today on Marquez Brownlee's YouTube channel. He's like the tech guy, you know, everyone know him, TBHD. So like he did a video about the Game Boy, and there's this like sort of awkward segment where he's like with the chiptune artist. He's like, "What is this chiptune?" And like it's just like Marquez like fiddling around on a Game Boy and like making something resembling a beat for like 3 minutes, and it's just like it's just something. It's one of those. It felt like.
Is it awkward?
It felt like one of those like Jimmy Fallon moments, but like in a YouTube video.
Oh.
And it was. And like I get it, cause like, you know, not everyone's like into music, so like I get like the idea behind it, but it just fantastic video, like really well done. Like they put a lot of effort into it, and like it's probably one of the best videos on his channel. But like that segment was just like oof. But no, I love chiptune, but like about games in general. You can continue, Scott. Just like, your life.
Well, I would say yes, it has affected the games I play today, because I mean I grew up as a Nintendo kid and I still like to play Nintendo games primarily. That said, like, although that's more on dictating a console purchase, for example. But
right,
because like I mean I have a Switch, but I don't have an Xbox One or a PS4. Usually because whenever I want to buy something that's not available on a Nintendo platform, it's usually on Steam as well, and then so I just get it there. However, I mean, that said though, the Spyro Reignited trilogy, I would love to play that, because I played the first Spyro a few years ago and I really loved it, but like it's not on a platform that I own. That's the only reason I don't have the game. But anyway, like it also has affected the games that I most regard. So my favorite game of all time is a game from my childhood. It's Banjo-Kazooie, and there's nothing better than it. Don't at me. However, my second favorite game of all time is Super Mario 64. And until I met Mr. MML here, I never realized that game had a lot of problems. Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome. Thank you. I ruined your childhood. Hooray.
Yep, screw you. So...
that sounded so genuine. Oh my god.
I'm very good at sounding genuine, trust me. When I try,
I trust you.
I'm very good at sounding genuine when I try. So I guess like, but like the thing is though, even if I am aware of Mario 64's problems, I still love playing the game. I'll just gladly like I think there was one Saturday afternoon a few years ago. I picked up my N64 controller. I put in Mario 64. I sat down, I started the game, 6 hours later, 120 stars, done.
Yeah. I think one of the things is like, and I'm gonna segue into this because we got the appropriate crowd in here in order to talk about this to some degree. But I feel like it's like with a lot of those games you play as a childhood, just because you're so much more patient, like you oversee a lot of those issues and you can just kind of sit through it. Yeah. So I mean, like I when I say the audience, I'm referring, of course, to the console SpongeBob games. Because I feel like it was a thing
okay, that's where you were going. I wasn't
sure.
Yep.
Because it's one of those things where like you look back on those experiences you have as a kid, and it's like, this was just so freaking good. Like I love these games, but then it's like when you really tear them apart and like look at what's going on there, it's like no, a lot of these games were just kind of shit. And that doesn't change the fact that like I've booted up some of those shit games and have played them multiple times because it's like I'm used to the shit. I don't see it anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Because I just
That was
know
kind of
how
the
to like
premise of
deal
my,
with it.
my channel for a little while.
Yeah.
Like I got big by covering these games because like I started like this in 2014. Nobody had really like covered those games, so I was immediately like the first result for obscure shit like Winnie the Pooh's Rumbly Tumbly Adventure. Like that was initially one of my big videos, and then prior to SpongeBob, that was my most popular video. So,
Right.
And then I'm
Who
thinking
else
like
is gonna cover
if I can
it?
list off the next one, it's like, not including SpongeBob, it's Cars the video game, Finding Nemo versus Shark Tale,
Yep.
and Monsters Inc. Stream Team. Those are the big three. Like they're actually like constantly getting me probably more ad revenue than most other things. Because people like
Right. And like for me, it's like I like not most of those games specifically, but I'm looking at my PS2 library right now, and most of it is licensed games. And like back in the day, those like licensed 3D platformers, like they sold like hotcakes, and they're not great, but like they're good enough.
They're good enough.
That like
they're good enough to keep you entertained, and they're good enough to keep you entertained. They're good enough for like a parent who's at the store who doesn't know what the hell a video game is to like pick off the shelf. And be like, oh, I know what Toy Story is. Oh, I know what SpongeBob is. Donkey Kong? Isn't that guy from like the 80s? Fuck that.
Exactly.
That was a big part. Like I all the licensed games I had were always gifts. It was always like my uncle comes to town and it's like, hey, I got you this cool game, and it's like fucking SpongeBob, and it's like
I honestly say like I would buy a lot of this stuff
Madagascar,
myself
like,
because I would go to the store. It would be like buy two get a third free, and I would choose like I would
oh, and then you
that's the thing, like I
in the
didn't know
SpongeBob.
like what the mainstream like first party titles were, so I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna get SpongeBob, I'm gonna get Incredibles because the Incredibles just came out, I'm gonna get Tak and the Power of Juju because it's in like the trailers for the SpongeBob games. So like I basically
Tak of the Power of Juju?
You need to
What did you just say?
look up
Tak and the Power of Juju. It's a Nickelodeon game that turned into a TV show.
Yeah, dude.
Liam's done a lot of videos on that whole series.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's Liam.
It's his SpongeBob basically.
Yeah.
Although,
I met him
like,
when he was speedrunning that.
I guess like when I like what Dennis was talking about, like, you know, recognizing cartoon characters and but then like rejecting Donkey Kong of all of them. I think like I mean I don't know, this could have just been a more of a me thing or my situation thing, but like my mum saw me play so much like Mario 64 among other Mario games back in the day, and she recognized who Mario was, like
You would intuit, that happened to me too.
Yeah,
mustache. Yeah, it's like she recognized that.
That's what got me into that's what got me into the Mario RPGs. It was like my mom saw Mario, and then suddenly she comes back with Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. I'm like, what is this? She's like, it's a Mario game. It's the new Mario game. And it was like, and she didn't know, but like, go to the store, you see a Mario, you'd ask the clerk, and they're like, it's the new Mario game, you know?
Yeah.
And then eventually I got like Superstar Saga, and like, I mean, going a bit closer to like the core of the question, like Superstar Saga being my first RPG dramatically affected my whole opinion on RPGs in general.
Yeah, I think that really... Nostalgia is my point. I think that's the key factor in this, in what your taste could become, or at least your memory of games of distant past. And it's one of those things where you hear something about a game like 64, you hear some of its flaws, and you're like, hold on, this is true. How come I did not see this? Well, because you played it as a child, probably. And I think everyone has that to some extent.
But is he talking about children, like when you were a child or when you were a teenager?
I think that definitely changes things too. That's very true.
True, yeah. That's a fair point.
because I'm trying to think of what I played as a teenager. But I think for me, I think it really was more more when I was younger. Like, I mean, on here it said it's like 13 to 16 for men. I don't know about the like male female like breakdown. I feel like it should be around the whatever. But let's just say 11 to 16 in general. Like, I mean, like,
oh, okay.
Like I feel like the games that were like really informed like what I play now were more when I was younger than that. I feel like.
And it's probably different for games than music, because those are the ages for music, and that's just from, I believe, some Spotify data that was ripped.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
I looked into it a bit. I believe that's really? So, but
I get how like with music, it would be something that's like an older age group. You know what I mean? Because music is such a passive thing that it's like it's something that you choose to put on to set like your mood and your like who you are, how you're feeling, you know.
Yeah.
Where like with the game, it's such an active thing that it's so much easier for like when you're younger to like really immerse yourself in an experience and like, you know, be in be not in the game, like one with the game, you know. So I feel like those experiences when you're younger, like those are gonna affect your perception more when you're like, in terms of like your taste with games than like stuff you play as like a teenager. Because for me, I feel like when I played stuff as a teenager, it was just sort of like more of the stuff I played when I was younger, except like my taste had gotten a little bit better. It was like I played, you know, I played Superstar Saga when I was, you know, when I was younger than 10, and then in 2009 Bowser's Inside Story came out and I played that. You know, I played Mario Sunshine when I was younger, and then I played Mario Galaxies. You know, it's like there's a clear like path there. Where like I played like this freaking like SpongeBob like licensed games or like the Incredibles licensed game or whatever, and I didn't play like Wii licensed games because I was like, I don't want to. Yeah. Like I never played Truth or Square, even though everyone's like, oh, that's like the third one that's really good or whatever.
I just got a comment about that today. Sorry.
I play a lot of like licensed games on the original Xbox of all things, but like. That was mostly my brother, because like he wanted, well, like I think he more wanted a lot of them rather than like they were just given to us because they were recognized. Like, I mean, we had Lego Star Wars 2, The Simpsons Hit and Run, Battle for Bikini Bottom as well. But I think that was I remember that one was given to my brother for his birthday by one of his friends who loved SpongeBob more than what is probably healthy for a person at the time. I actually recently caught up with that guy. He's actually a dad now, but that's a story for another day. We had a lot of those games, but I didn't keep getting licensed games because most of the games I wanted to pick up were sequels to games from previous generations. Like I got like Galaxies because I had Sunshine in 64, and then like I don't know, I guess one point in my life I did start going back to prequels, and when I was in like my upper teens I discovered like the Super Nintendo and the NES, and going back and playing a lot mainly Mario games from those eras, until I got into Zelda, which was in like just shortly after I left school or right before I left school.
What kind of games do you play now, Scott?
Whatever I feel like. I hate.
Do you play mostly?
I hate categorizing the games I play because I have a lot of bad experience of people just assuming the games that I play and assuming them wrong every single time. Right. Like I have people who think I will buy anything that is on a Nintendo platform. Right. Like I think. There was a Mario game that came out recently that I didn't get. I can't remember what it was. but someone just assumed I had it.
Ultra
because
Smash.
It was a Mario game. Oh no! Sorry. I think it was Star Fox Zero. I never got Star Fox Zero. I was never interested in it. I didn't play Lilac Wars back in the day. Shouts to the Power Region name, which is cooler sounding, but doesn't roll off the tongue as well as Star Fox 64. But never mind. So, like, I mean, I didn't play Star Fox 64 as a kid, so wasn't really attached to the whole franchise. So I was just like, I don't care. But like, one person was like, "You don't have Star Fox Zero? What? Who are you? I thought you were a Nintendo fan." I'm like,
Right.
Yeah, I am.
But it's like
I like.
you don't have to like every single game that comes out by any given developer.
Yeah. Like, I mean, heck, I've been a Nintendo fan for over 20 years, but it took me 20 years of playing Nintendo games to finally get something that's Metroid.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No, it was 21 years. Because we got our Nintendo 64 on Christmas Day, 1997.
Yeah.
And that was, so it was 21 years until I played a Metroid game.
But it's always
aside from like the free ones, which was just
right.
the original Metroid. But anyway.
But it's cool when you have those experiences where it's like you think you know what games you like or like what things you like, and then something comes up and you find yourself playing something that you wouldn't expect to like, but you really like it, and now your whole like perception of like what you like.
Danganronpa.
Yeah, fair.
Oh,
but it's like that whole perception changes.
To be fair, when it came to Dangles, like, I mean, it wasn't the art style or the graphics or the genre that appealed to me. It was just, Matt, it was your video when you said, "Kill someone, get away with it." And immediately when I heard that, I was like, I gotta play this.
Yeah.
We got a mass murderer on our hands.
Yeah.
Help me.
Help me.
Yeah. I've been rambling for too long. I'm pretty sure I lost the plot somewhere along the way.
Well, Scott.
Yeah.
Would you say that you lean more toward indie games or AAA games?
What is this? Like one of those finger traps with the...
Define... No, well, AAA and indie are well defined. I think I just kind of fall on both camps fairly equally, question mark. But like, I mean, if I just think a game looks cool, I'll get it, really.
Right.
Like, I mean, I got Poi, which was an indie game that no one else in the known universe knows except for me, apparently, because I keep shouting from the rooftops, "Hey everyone, play Poi, it's a good game," and no one plays it.
Right. It got overshadowed by like A Hat in Time and Ukulele and all that.
Yeah, it got overshadowed by A Hat in Time and, well, Ukulele more so. And so, but like, I mean, it was honestly like I mean, aside from the final boss was garbage. It was bad to control and did not at all test you or skills like at the game. Like it teaches you an entirely new mechanic in the final boss. I'm just like, what is this? Why are you doing this to me? And it wasn't even done very well. Like I think that just should have been removed and it would have been fine. Like the final act, because it just was right before it was just this huge ass platforming challenge, which was amazing.
I do think that like, and maybe this is just me because I don't like explore the full indie space, you know, but I feel like a lot of people that like, I feel like Nintendo opens people up more to like wanting to go into indie experiences than like many other platforms, because I feel like a lot of my friends that play like, you know, the GTAs and the Call of Duties and the Forzas and sports games and things like that, they sort of just stay within that AAA space and they're not as willing to like branch out and try something different, where like I think when you play a Nintendo game as a kid, like I feel like you're more attuned to like design, if that makes sense, because of just how deliberate everything is. Where like in like, you know, a Call of Duty game, it's like you shoot people, and that's kind of the game. And like there's more to it than that, you know, like especially with like some of the campaigns and how like the multiplayer is set up and things like that. But I think like really people enjoy it on that surface level.
Single versus multiplayer, because I know tons of people who just like single player games you play a lot of different games. Multiplayer games you stick to one game and just it's like you come home from school, you just play it for 4 hours a night. You rank up in Halo. Like it's just like that's the split it is.
Yeah. Yeah, because you have to like for like in terms of the game's progression, but also in terms of like socially, because those sorts of games like require like a bunch of people all to have the same game. So
and also Nintendo's online was awful and still is kind of awful. So of course like they're not going to have emphasis on multiplayer games. At least not couch.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, and the reason I asked Scott those questions and this whole conversation now led into Fafil's answer.
Oh snap! What a segue!
What a setup! That was my entire purpose.
Damn.
And you led into it, Matt, and then we had the theory of multiplayer versus single player instead. So I think we have some theories going on for this, and I definitely notice some friends who stick with like sports games, like games like Shadow of Mordor. I know that was a huge thing with a certain type of
demographic.
Yeah, I don't know, that one sticks out to me because I remember as one of my friends with that game. I think it's definitely a factor. It's just to what extent is that factor?
Right. And it's just so telling when like when Nintendo comes out with their like big online game and it's Splatoon. Like it's like I mean Dennis talked about this a lot, and it sort of made me rethink the whole thing. 'Cause it's like when Nintendo made an online game, they rethought online. And then I was also like, because I was watching, this ties back to the Marquez Brownlee thing actually, because there was one part of this interview he was doing with someone, and they're like, Nintendo's philosophy has always been like, instead of making something like brand new that no one's ever seen before, we're gonna wait for the technology to be good enough that we do something with it that people don't expect. Mm-hmm. So like, for example, with portable gaming, like you could make portable gaming thing, like that could be a thing, but it wasn't until the Game Boy that it was like, we're gonna like nail it, and we're gonna have it that you just slap in a cartridge, turn it on, and it just works, and you're playing Tetris and it's great. Or like with the Wii, it's like there were things like the iToy back in like early 2000s. There was motion controls before that, you know, but it freaking all the
PlayStation 2.
Yeah, that was PlayStation 2. And then like, but even
Wii
if you
right
go back to like
that,
freaking the NES, like they had the freaking thing where you put like the thing over your old TV to like play Duck Hunt or whatever.
Do you have the Nintendo Zapper? Then there's like the Power Glove.
Right. So it's like all of those things existed, but like they didn't really. Outside of like the NES era, where they really just kind of threw everything in a wall. Like after that, it was sort of like they waited until it was so good that they could make the Wii, and then when it happened, because it just worked, it was like boom. So it's almost like that's kind of what they did with online too. It was like they tried online with some stuff like Mario Kart DS and like Brawl and like things like that, but they're all sort of half-hearted to like dip your toes in the water, and then finally they make this online game that's just designed for online, Splatoon. And like it didn't like blow everyone's minds in the same way like something like the Wii did, or like the analog stick on the N64 did, or just like Mario 64 in general, I guess. But it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's crazy how like Nintendo does that. And I think that because like you have those moments where you like play a Nintendo game and it's like, whoa, this is like really cool, because it like took something that like maybe I already knew about or maybe didn't know about, and it just like works so well and is so like well put together that it really almost like forces you to sort of think on that deeper level and engage with it on that deeper level. So then when you go and play an indie game with a really cool mechanic, like say Baba Is You, it's like that's something that impresses you in that same way.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But I also think there is like a single multiplayer element, because I don't think someone that's like only plays multiplayer games is like, I want to play like a puzzle game like that.
Right.
But also like then one of my friends, Alex, like one of his favorite games is Natural Selection 2, and it's an indie first person shooter with like an ever evolving meta it's just like super interesting. So it's like this whole community I just didn't know existed until like he made me aware that it existed. So so it's like there are indie gamers that like play multiplayer games and they're really engaged with them, and it's just so interesting. But I'm just wondering where that demographic necessarily comes from. Like, is that because I just don't see a lot of the like console multiplayer gamers that I like know diving into freaking Natural Selection 2.
Right. It's interesting because, like, nowadays, I really hate multiplayer games. I think they're complete time sinks. Most of them are poorly designed. Even with playing with friends, I drop off of them really fast. But there are probably multiple exceptions here and there, but one that really stood out to me was Battle Right. I don't know if you guys heard of Battle Right.
I have not.
Oh. It's a 2v2 or 3v3 top-down, or I guess more isometric. And it's... think of, like, League of Legends with... like, you know, those short, like 1v1 or 2v2 or any number of people battles, like where you go in, someone dies, and the game continues.
Yeah, I'm looking at the trailer right now. It's like really like...
it's those short battles, but the entire game.
That's so interesting.
There's a 2-minute time limit on each round until the stage starts... collapsing in, so you'll start getting damaged from the outside. And you have skills you can use that have cooldowns, and it's all about like teamwork, obviously, and it's all about knowing when to use your abilities. Most characters have some kind of escape tool with space, so if you use that wrong, you could just die. And so there's there's so much depth to it. It's just a lot of fun. It's difficult to really explain unless you give it a legitimate try. It's just something you don't find often in games, I feel, or multiplayer games, I should add. But I think that also might add to where Battle Right I would consider more of a co-op game, and I think that's the kind of game I'm more into in terms of multiplayer, I guess. So give it a try. We can have a last life stream with some Battle Right. Am I right, fellas?
I'm like, Battle Right?
Well, what was that? What were you talking about? I was checking.
Fellow gamers.
BATTLERITE.
Yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about. That was a joke.
How do we get up?
Oh.
Why did you laugh at my joke? I'm offended by
because you made me sad.
How do we get on this like specific train of thought again? Like how did it diverge from the main question? I got lost.
Indie.
We're talking about like multiplayer games and how I was like, I was like indie multiplayers and how it's like I don't see the people that that like play AAA multiplayer focused games diving into like indie multiplayer stuff like that.
I've got one mate, right? He like IRL. He started out on He started out on the N64.
Can I just ask a question real quick? Just like complete tangent, but like,
what?
Like, is it like when you have like a friend that's in Australia, are they your mate? And then it's like a friend that's like outside of Australia, are they just a friend?
No,
is it like everyone's a mate?
You're all mates.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, really? I had a coworker who was British and he was really cool, and he would never call me mate for a long time, and then we had this one meeting after we finished this project, and he had to like go back to the airport to go back to London, and he was like, "All right, see you later, mate." And it was like a big moment for me because like it felt like a card he was keeping away from me. He was like, "No, you don't have it yet, not until you've proven yourself." Yeah, I thought it was on like a different level. Okay, never mind.
Oh. But anyway, I've got an IRL mate who like he started out on the N64 like I did. He had a lot of similar games, although he had a couple of different ones. I don't know if he had Banjo, but he had Donkey Kong 64, which sucks for him.
Donkey Kong.
But like among like other games, but like in the next generation, he went over the PS2. Like I don't know if that was just because that's what his parents bought for him,
Right.
or if he asked for a PS2, or I don't know if he ever wanted a GameCube or was interested in like a GameCube. Like I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. He might have liked Melee if he had a GameCube or something like that. But
Gamelin's GameCubes.
but regardless though, today, like I mean, aside from he's mostly PC aside from owning a Wii U of all things, but like he plays mostly AAA, mostly online stuff. I know he's played a hell of a lot of Dota 2. That's why I see him on stream. Sorry, no, on stream, on Steam, playing. But the only time he's ever gone indie, as far as what I can see, is Undertale.
Yeah.
So but he started out with Nintendo, but then he kind of went in the more multiplayer AAA direction. But and he's
Undertale
more or
brought
less
him back.
stayed there. Aside from Undertale, but like that didn't win him over to like a whole bunch of other indies, as far as I know. Like
Right.
as far as I'm concerned, Undertale is the only indie game of recent years that he's played.
That's some interesting data. We'll add it to our list, our last to life list.
Yep.
Or list life.
I'll alert him that I told this story, and then he'll listen back, and then he'll tell me all these details that I got wrong.
I feel like Undertale is just such a like weird game in that sense, because I do know a lot of people, like one of my friends Nick, who's like huge GTA fan, so he just plays like he's like that gamer of like the stereotypical like multiplayer game thing. But then like about a month ago, he's like, Matt, I'm gonna play Undertale. And I'm like, I told you to play Undertale like years ago, right? But like now, just because like the meme is still around, you know, and it's like got a bit of a resurgence, it's just like, oh, I guess I should check this game out. And he's been really liking it. And it's just like, well, it's just one of those things where it's like I feel like it just happened to get that exposure thanks to like memes and stuff. But it's like, so it's sort of, it's a weird game in that sense.
It transcends it, and it like
Yeah.
creates like new gamers. Like I knew there, like weirdly enough, like I knew people at my old job who for them it was Detroit Become Human, because I guess like they never really saw games in that light before, and then they heard about it and they're like, oh, this is crazy, like how do you get this? And like I had someone ask me if they bought the game, if they could come over to my place and play it, and I was like, no, that's weird as hell, dude. Like, you could just watch a video on YouTube, you'll probably get the gist of it. Also, it sounds fucking terrible. But like those sorts of things are like, I guess they can only lead to good things.
It's all surface level appeal for people who
Undertale
don't
and
actually
stuff like
understand like what makes game like.
Yeah.
If like there's certain games that come out and we're like, wow, this really like this is gonna change the medium, and then other people look at it. Well, I had someone who was like, why do you like Minecraft? It looks like ass. And I'm like, that's not the point.
Yeah, but then they don't understand what, like, yeah, exactly. Like they don't understand like what the actual
because they're like, it
purpose of
doesn't.
is.
The graphics aren't good.
But then
and I'm
once
like,
you
that's
like,
not why people like Minecraft.
Yeah. I have that moment with I've had that experience like with my dad, who he's like, I mean, he doesn't pay too much attention to games, but sometimes he'll see something and be like, well, I thought like the graphics were better than this at this point, and I'll like try to explain like, well, yeah, but like that's not always the point. But I feel like you can get past that with some people, and then when you do, it's like a breakthrough, and now suddenly like they see games in a different
You have to
light,
find like this one.
I don't even think you necessarily need like really high-end graphics for your game to look good.
It's stylization.
No,
Like,
but a lot
Because
of
like
people
you
don't
could
see
show
it.
someone Cuphead,
Yeah, it really
right?
depends
And
what
like
the point is,
people
yeah.
understand that Cuphead doesn't look realistic, but they'll
Yeah.
immediately be like, "Wow, this looks amazing," because it's.
Yeah, they'll like
Yeah.
understand why
You have
it
to
looks
really
that way,
appeal
yeah.
to like.
But then it's also weird that Undertale kind of like stood out then, because it's a really like comparatively speaking, like I mean, it's really good sprite work for what it is, but it's like that's not something that you would inherently show to someone that only plays like that has that surface level interaction, be like, I want to play this.
Yeah.
But I guess it just sort of did its own thing. And I guess that happened with Minecraft too to some degree, although I've definitely had people in that had the same situation Kevin was just talking about. They're like, why would you play it? It looks like garbage.
Even like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, it was just like it transcended. It was like, so many people were like, even like, I mean, it's not the same exact thing, but like for me, like Overwatch was kind of like I never played it myself, but whenever there was new like content around, like whenever they released a new video for a character, I was really, really interested in it.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like that was able to happen to me, and I'm a gamer, right? And I didn't even play the game, and I could totally see the point of view of someone who's like not a gamer, and then they're scrolling Twitter and they see like a really cool animated trailer, and they find out it's from a game, and it's like an ongoing thing, and then they get really invested in like the lore and like even the meta of the game, but like from outside.
Yeah.
Like, and then like just envying it and like wanting to be a part of it, and like
I think it's definitely like,
I don't know where I was going with that.
Kids are a huge factor. Like the games that took off for like, Minecraft, and now it's Fortnite, and
well, even like people our age, I think, like people who for one reason or another never like got versed in games as kids, and now it's like it's kind of hard to like, you can't pick up a game because they don't understand how like 3D cameras work, and it's like, but they see like the culture, and they see like some key titles, and they're like, fuck, like I want to be a part of, like, I know like The Last of Us was like a big contender in that sort of area. It was like so many people were like into what it was all about, but like could not play it. Like they did not have like the skills, I guess, to play it.
Yeah.
But, and I would argue it's probably a bad entry level because it kind of has anyways. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing too is that like, and I'm kind of writing a script sort of about this, but YouTube played a huge role in that
Game
too.
Awards exclusive.
Well, no, like Five Nights at Freddy's would not have taken off without YouTube, for one.
Minecraft wouldn't have taken off without YouTube. Terraria wouldn't have taken off widhout YouTube.
Yeah.
Undertale too, for that matter. Like all of these games, I think it's like a lot of people started started their experience with the games by watching them, which is why you have like PUBG is a great example. It's a very very shallow, not super complex game, but it just has this unique catch that captivated people when they saw people play it, and then they were like, I gotta play it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, these games are not just games; they're communities.
Yeah. So it's like you want to be a part of it. You don't want to miss out on it.
It's almost like games are socio-technical.
Like, did you see that server that got eulogized for the guy who used to own it? Like, the guy who used to own a popular server, like...
What were you doing, Dennis?
I was blowing.
He's stressed out because socio-technical systems.
I was blowing a point right into your ears.
He was doing sit-ups, dude. You gotta keep those abs up.
What abs?
What's abs?
Yeah, I mean, they're like something that can grow. It's kind of like a fungus.
How many gamers does it take to grow one single ab?
One abdomen. Wait, that's not how you pronounce that.
Wait. How did you pronounce it initially?
Oh, hell. Oh, shit. Who's excited?
About what?
The future.
Future's crazy, dude.
I'm pretty good rapper.
I've been looking into
the future.
Future?
The future. Like tomorrow, the day after,
I'm feeling a little bit more excited.
What's cracking?
Tomorrow's alright.
Tomorrow's Easter now. It's in Eastern Standard Time, technically.
Yeah, it's true.
It's also 4:20.
Yeah. What do y'all? I'm going to my
It's
grandmother's
also the
for
first
Easter.
420 since they
Apparently
I'm
legalized
not
it
doing
in
anything
Canada.
exciting for Easter.
Keeps what?
I'm
is
gonna
legal?
eat chocolate and go to church.
Kevin's
I'm
gonna
actually not.
smoke
Like, I
marijuana
don't really have a
'cause
whole lot of interest in
apparently
it.
it's legal.
I did it
Me neither,
twice
but I
after it
would-
was legalized, and I was like, okay, this is.
What? I thought you were gonna save yourself from me.
We did not.
I wanted to do it with you. I don't want to do it the first time without you.
I mean, we can still do that if you come over.
No, Kevin. Fuck, man. I wanted it to just be us
We
Sponge
can.
Bros.
Okay,
dude.
you know what we can do.
I think we've
You know what we can
derailed
do?
ourselves here.
You can come over.
Yeah.
You can try an edible. We
Yes.
can watch SpongeBob.
Oh. Okay. Every time I tell everybody about your plan that like, oh, we're gonna try edibles for the first time. Every time I tell anybody I know who's more versed in this, they're like, that is the dumbest fucking idea. You are an idiot.
No,
do not do that.
Okay.
I don't know
you'll
anything about this,
you'll
but
be
I know
fine
that
as long as you
everybody
don't
thinks it's a
drink,
bad idea,
because
Kevin.
mixing is how you throw up.
But I love to
Oh,
drink
okay.
water. Oh,
All right. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
don't
All right.
mean- Sorry. Sorry. I'm so fucking stupid.
Wait, was that legitimate? There's no way that was
I thought you
legitimate.
meant like hydrate.
No. Okay.
like
That you should
can't-
do. I'm just
Sorry,
saying, like,
not-
Dennis, you'll be
There's
fine as
no
long as you don't
way.
like drink at the same time.
Yeah, no. That's
You'll
fine.
honestly
That's
probably
okay.
fall asleep.
Okay,
That's
but-
That's called being crossed. That's the
But
technical term.
What if we
How do
go
we have
to
to go to
Toronto?
Toronto?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
we
true.
meet with
That's
Liam,
true. I like that. idea.
Triforce, and we
I
do it there. Is it legal in Toronto? too?
Steal
it's
his
19,
part of the
right?
Triforce.
well, Ontario it's 19. Yeah, it's same as
It's
it's same
19
as drinking.
Ontario? I don't know how old he is. Liam, right into the podcast.
No,
You're
so,
here.
so it's the same as drinking age, and it's 19.
Liam, how many drugs could a Torontonian check if a Torontonian? You know, yeah.
This is the Last Life podcast, everyone.
brought to you by weed
Drugs.
and other illegal substances, unless you're Canadian, apparently.
Or if you're from Washington
So,
My
State.
dad told me they used to smuggle cocaine and hummus at this one grocery store.
I would believe it. Yeah.
Apparently, if you boil the hummus, you could like separate the cocaine and the hummus, or like.
But if you just
probably
ate the
not boil
hummus,
it. Oh
it wouldn't
yeah,
do anything?
you'd be on crack.
I don't think
if you ate the hummus, but it probably tastes really bad too. It probably tastes like medicine. But apparently, like it was good enough that like if they scanned it, like dogs couldn't sniff it because it smelled like hummus. I guess. I don't know what it was about the hummus, but he told me this one grocery store in town was smuggling
Interesting.
cocaine in their hummus.
lovely.
Talk about chickpeas.
Alright, so
Well,
So
is this where we call
on
it?
that thought,
Oh, are we trying to wrap it up? Oh,
I mean, we
okay.
can't. We don't have to. What are we talking?
No, I want to go back to the upbringing question because we can't ignore our viewers. That's
Can we ask our
disrespectful.
viewers what their
Okay.
thoughts are on
Let's be
edibles?
respectful.
Oh yeah, so that'll be the next
Yeah.
question. Post your answer on the forums, please.
Obviously.
If you post in the Discord, we'll ignore you and ban you at the same time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But I think Mashi's answer kind of is how I mostly think about this, I think. See, he says that the games he enjoys now are primarily strategy and rhythm games. When he was younger, he played a lot of side-scrollers, Mario, Kirby, Crash, and 3D adventure-like games like Spyro, Kingdom Hearts, Jack and Dexter. Daxter, same thing.
Jack and Dexter's lab.
Well, hold on.
I
I have a question.
I'm
How
holding.
does Crash fall under side scroller?
The GBA Crash games.
Oh. Okay, maybe I'd like a Game Boy Advance and a PlayStation 2. That makes sense. With the games that he's listed.
Yeah.
He or she. I don't know.
Freaking Crash the Big Adventure is advertised in like
Crash?
every
Heck
strategy guide I ever bought. It was like everywhere. It was like,
Oh, seriously?
yeah, like you'd get the strategy guide for like any of the Super Mario Advance games, and like you'd open it up, and like
Oh,
the
wait,
first
who
ad
was
would be
the console
Crash Bandicoot,
ad
the huge adventure for the
later in the
GBA.
later
Get it now.
paragraph? SNES, Game Boy Advance, N64, PlayStation 2. A
Yeah.
few others, but hasn't played them as much.
Yeah, so, and then he goes on to say, I think my taste in games now is vastly different from my taste in games as a kid, but I suspect that an evolution in taste is inevitable as part of the transition from childhood to adulthood. And I know that's certainly the case for me with music, so I know that's the case. I mean, we see some evidence of that with games as well, but I think other factors, interesting factors to consider is just how technology itself has grown, streaming platforms, YouTube, online communities in general, the accessibility of games just from just on PC alone. Now we have a freaking Nintendo console that's not only portable but has indie games on it. That's
porn
kind of
and VR.
insane. So I think there's so many factors that go into.
I think for me, it's like my tastes haven't like shifted like that though. They've just sort of just broadened. And I think it's the same for me with music. Like I'm staring at my giant freaking CD collection that's losing value by the second.
Are we an unfair sample to judge from because we're all game critic fellows?
I mean, I think to some degree that's true. I think
Perhaps.
there is an element of going into it with like an
Like,
open mind.
Because I feel like a lot of us, like, we have really broad interests, but that's because like we're trying to learn as much. Like some people, like we were talking about before, there's like the multiplayer bros. They just kind of like, they want to come home, they want to play Call of Duty with their pals, they want to go to sleep, they want to die one day. Like that's it, you know? That's the plan. That's the life. Like we're kind of like, we're like,
Come
Yeah.
home,
whoa!
work, play Call of Duty, go
Yeah.
to sleep, die.
We're like,
Sounds
we're trying
like
to
a
find
nice
like the
life.
most efficient way to like consume as much as we can so we can kind of sound somewhat intelligent when we talk about this shit. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like any opinion we can have, sadly, as unfortunate as that is, it doesn't reflect like the main, the masses, you know?
That's true.
The
That's
FIFA
very
bros. The
Yeah,
Overwatch
but
pals.
I definitely agree with Matt that I think it's more broadened for me than shifted. But there's also another, the factor of, at least for me as a creator, that I have to pick and choose very specifically the games I want to play, because if I'm going to play it, I'm going to be writing about it for a video. Like, it's rarely am I playing a game for not a video, which
I have
sounds...
the exact opposite process, which is very interesting.
And it sounds kind of sad, but that's just how I work, especially since
No, but a lot
I
of people
have
work that
a
way.
lot of friends that want to play like co-op or some kind of multiplayer game with me, and I want to play with them because they're my friends, you know, like, so I have to dedicate time to that as well. Like I can't dedicate time to everything, and it's
No, I've been feeling the like pain of me not taking that sort of approach recently, because like I had to replay Mario Odyssey because I'm making a video about Mario Odyssey, and I don't really like Mario Odyssey, so it's like I've spent freaking VR Mario Odyssey. It's freaking little bonus mode, and it's not even like playable. You don't even have to play it in VR. So it's just like, oh, okay, cool. Like it's like more. They just like added more crap moons to the game.
Okay,
Thank
so the
you.
whole
Dude,
thing
you
with
know that there are people with like Mario nose fetishes that are gonna like, they're gonna get like, you know the way his nose jiggles. I could totally understand if someone told me they have a fetish for like how his nose jiggles when he runs around, dude. Oh my god,
know exactly what you mean though. That's
dude!
the thing.
That, like I could like if like
I know what you
I know
mean.
people who have things for like Mr. Potato Head. Like, dude, this VR thing is gonna like change some people's lives.
Isn't
It
the whole
is.
thing
Better
with
and worse.
Yeah.
My God.
Oh, why do I have a chub? What? Help!
I mean, like, I mean, different conversation for a different video, but like, for different podcasts.
No, we're discussing it right now.
I know I feel like this could be like a 3-hour podcast on its own, but like Sonic Dreams Collection in VR. You know what I mean? Like, that's such a weird thing that exists, and like,
You know.
and it's like, it's just crazy that like
it makes people happy. People,
Especially when Sonic touches you, Eggman's trying to help you out. It's all a good time, am I right?
it's just such a
I think on that note,
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
save that for a different
third
Okay, but
person
isn't the
VR
whole
games. Dude, imagine
isn't
if,
the
like,
whole thing with
Third
Metal Gear
person.
But
Solid.
anyway, like, I've been replaying Mario Odyssey, and like, and it's just like, I didn't need to spend my time doing that. It was a waste of time. I didn't have a lot of fun doing it.
isn't
Yeah.
the whole thing with Labo though that you have to hold the
Yeah.
goggles in your hand, so it's not like you can even comfortably play through Breath of the Wild. Like you have to actually like make a.
I'm really interested.
Oh, I
in
thought
how
you were
that
gonna
works.
say you couldn't comfortably do something else.
But you have to make like a point of
But actually, it's
you
true.
can't
Yeah.
you can't like stop and you can't like play all of Breath of the Wild in VR. You have to be.
But like, are you holding the like the control, like, because the
You're
Switch is
holding it
in
right
the
up to your
VR
head.
headset.
There's
so
no
you're
head
like
mount.
are you like controlling Link like with your hands
There's
above
no
There's
head
no
your
mount.
head mode. Yeah. So it's like you're holding your hands as if like you're about to put a
Because
hat
okay,
on.
so
for, like,
and you're just
the entire
and you're just
time.
holding that while playing Breath of the Wild. That's just
No, that's
I
the thing, you
can't
can't.
imagine that being.
you're not supposed
People are
to
gonna
play
make
Breath
head
of the
mounts
Wild
in,
with
like,
it. Like
2
so, Labo's
days.
designed around like objects which like have like you have a gun, so you hold the gun and you aim. It makes sense. It's so you have it the whole time.
Yeah.
You're like Breath of the Wild. There's no.
Yeah. So why do they
They-
make
they
it
literally-
compatible with Breath of the Wild?
I read.
Dude, there's gonna be a
I
head
think
strap
it's
on
just
eBay
for,
in
like,
like 2
I
hours.
think
just
it's to
so
sell
it
Labo.
exists.
Because
Just
I
so
think
there's
people
Breath of the Wild VR.
People see on
just so
Twitter.
it can
People see
exist.
on Twitter
Just for
that
the
it's
novelty of it?
compatible with Odyssey and
Yeah,
Breath
probably.
of the Wild. So they're like, wow, Labo isn't just like cartoon stuff. I'll buy the VR set. It's like $80. You got to get people like to sink money
Right.
into that.
Yeah. The thing about Labo, like the coolest thing about Labo is like the garage.
That stuff's wild. Like the actual like
The
construction
Toy-Con garage.
software. It's super
Yeah.
intricate.
Dude, being
Yeah.
a kid with that would be the dopest stuff. Like fuck
But
Lego.
that and then that sort of let's go full circle, tie it back. Like if you're a kid right now,
yeah.
and you're getting like, and your family got you a Labo, or like I mean we're talking about Rasbo before this podcast started. Like he's like been doing stuff like in like in like Scratch and software like that.
Sorry.
But like if you're a kid and you're like growing up in this world where like there's like intro coding stuff is like so accessible, like what kind of games
just
are you
as a
gonna
counter
enjoy later?
to this, so I would say that this tool set is on par with like Lego Mindstorms, which I don't know if anybody knows.
Oh, dude, Lego Mindstorm is bullshit, dude. I got a computer virus from that as a kid, and everybody in the whole family got mad at me.
But
for
I would just
getting...
so like Lego
Dude.
Mindstorms.
Okay.
Like you got a bunch of pieces.
No.
You got like claws. You
No.
got like a main CPU unit. You can
Yeah.
do a lot of stuff.
And then you have to download a PDF from the website, and you just get
You have
porn
to
all
do
over
a
your
lot
computer.
to actually like make stuff that's cool. I know that like at the age that I was when my parents got it, my dad kind of had to like not drag me through it, but kind of just like be there the whole way with me through like making all the exercises. I did not have like the mental capacity or interest at that age to actually fully explore it. It's a thing you have
Yeah.
to do as an adult.
Yeah.
Like you have to be into that. It's too much for
Yeah.
a kid. It's not like Minecraft is easy. Interface, you make like a thing. It's easy. There's a
Yeah.
game on it. Labo, it's too intricate for
Yeah.
a kid. They're not gonna be able to do anything significant with it.
Well, I don't know. There's always like the
But
one kid, like, you know, like it's not like meant for like the typical kid, but like there's always like the one kid you go to his house and he's got like a bionicle diorama he's set up and he works on it every day. It's like it's for that kid. Like it's for the kid who's gonna come home every single day and work on his Labo stuff.
I just
Like,
don't think
that's his
that I don't
hobby,
think that
you know,
kid's
like-
that common though.
And also,
Because I had a ton of bionicles. I never did
but
that.
also
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
but kids are also learning these kind of concepts much earlier in life. Like, I mean, like, I'm thinking like they had the Apple event recently where they announced like all of their TV shows with really awkward long pauses in between, and they're making a Sesame Street show about coding.
Hey.
Yeah.
So like, think about the Sesame Street demographic, and they're teaching basic, like, I'm sure they're not teaching you like actual functions or anything, but they're like teaching basic concepts of that. Like, I don't know how good that show's going to be, right? But, like, the fact that someone was like, this is an idea that should actually be a thing, and then people are actually funding it, and it's gotten to the point where it's a show, demonstrates the fact that, like, when we were kids, like, that wasn't a thought. The thought was, like, kids got to be off of the internet. Like, don't put your information on the internet. Well, you know? Yeah. Stay away from computers. Computers are bad. Where now it's like, let's teach kids the code. Like, that's a whole different dynamic. So it's like, I guess I just wonder, like, what changes as a result of that, like how taste evolves over time with that.
I read a recent demographic that said 20% of 1-year-olds have their own iPad.
Wow. Wait, where?
It's like, think of how many times your parents like, would stick you in front of the TV. Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's like
just it's a different form of TV.
It's that equivalent. The iPad is the new TV.
True.
Like, people are cutting cable. Like, people aren't.
But it's different. But it's different.
Although I think over the years, my dad tried to get me away from the TV.
Well, no, I agree. It's just that, like,
yeah,
that was more like when I was.
Yeah, that's when parents realized that, like, okay, we kind of let it go too far. We need to fix it. But by that point, like, it's too late.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, it's part of the routine. You're not going to change a kid.
Yeah, you can't.
I'm already captivated by Mario.
Yeah. And hey, neither of us are complaining, at least, dude. That's like half our SpongeBob ad revenue. Holy shit, let's be honest. Yeah. Like, it's like kids typing SpongeBob into, like, YouTube Kids, and, like, we show up.
Well, my favorite is, like, I would get comments.
I made, like, $300
One day someone
off
bought me Diddy Kong Racing, and now I got $400
I
off of it.
get these comments from kids who are like, man, this is my favorite childhood game. I was born in 2003, and I'm like...
Yeah, oh my god.
I'm like, what do you mean you were born in... This game came out in 2003.
Crazy.
Like...
Yeah.
But that's got to be a thing where it's like they have the older brother, and so they still have the old system. Like, well, I mean, like I was the polite only child where I didn't realize the difference between a PS2 and a PS1, but I knew that the PS1 was cheaper, so on my Christmas list I put that I wanted a PS1, and of course I got a PS2 anyway. But like, if you're like a younger sibling, you have like an older sibling, like you already have the older system. So like there are people in my age group that grew up with like a Sega Genesis, right? And that's just because they have older siblings that there's a Genesis in the house,
we still have Dior's input on the question.
He had a long freaking post, but like he lists like each individual game, and it's like how each of those games like sort of inform things. Like the Paper Mario.
It's really interesting.
Like the Paper Mario one.
Paper Mario and Halo story are both the same as your Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga story.
In very ways, yeah. In a lot of ways, yeah. It's sort of like those sort of things like define what that genre is for you, which is really interesting.
And if you break down some of these games, some of the good elements from these games actually don't carry over to most future games. Like, it's difficult to find something that matches the quality. And if you just look at Halo 3 in general, the amount of content in the game itself, just looking at content, is insane.
Yeah. It's crazy. And it's like when you play like one of those really, really good games, it's just like nothing else lives to that standard. So then the game after that is just garbage. Where it's like if you start with the worst game first, then it's like, oh, this game's pretty good, and then you play the better game, you're like, oh, this game's really good, and then the pretty good game stays pretty good status. That's always interesting.
Like Wii Fit, how like the second one in the trilogy is like ace, and the first one is like it sets the groundwork, but it's not that great, all things considered.
Wait, there's a Wii Fit trilogy?
Yeah, there's Wii Fit 1, Wii Fit 2,
and
Wii Fit U. Wii Fit U is like, it goes in the wrong direction, but it does it well.
Yo, who remembers Wii Sports Club?
Dude, oh my god,
that went nowhere.
I remember it exists.
Tried to get a copy of that for so long.
Wii Sports Club, it was trying to be a subscription-based Wii Sports
Except
club.
everyone's like,
The full
Are you
game is like
serious?
$80.
Yeah,
You can't find it for cheap anywhere.
Games as a service is the future, am I right, fellas?
So
It's not like it completely flopped and failed in front of our eyes like we predicted.
So if you want the rest of this podcast, you gotta pay like 6 easy payments
Of
of
Gorilla Cheeks.
5.
If you don't slap it, you ain't got it.
Slap that like button. Like,
Smash that like button in the face.
Hit the subscribe. Like it's
Gamers
Nice.
rise up.
I don't know. I was trying
Gorillas
to rhyme, but it
rise
didn't
up.
work out. And on that note, we'd like to thank you all so very much for watching. I've been
not
Hatwearing
watching.
Gamer.
Watching. Who's
Oh,
watching?
shut up. You know what I mean.
I mean, we got some. Oh, there's probably some cool audio visualizer situation going.
This
on
has been
here,
Raining
but
on
we'll
Games.
see.
Thank you, Matt, for that.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
We'd like
Yeah,
to thank
trying
you
to-
all so very much for listening. I've been Hatwearing Gamer, and I am hungry.
That cut off at a really young
And you are what? you cut out at the right time.
I am Hatwearing Gamer, and I am.
Oh, I heard a little bit more. Never mind.
It didn't cut out for the audience, but hey, Matt, can you cut that out for the
No,
audience
no,
so
no,
that
no.
they have it simulated?
It's almost funnier for them to imagine it.
Okay,
Plus-
yeah.
plus-
It's like, I had no idea what you guys were talking about, what you guys were laughing about. I was like, I'm Hatwearing Gamer, and I'm hungry. Is that funny? I
It
guess
happened
it's funny,
again.
maybe.
You cut out again.
It happened again.
Oh, for goodness sake.
You can never eat.
But
Or
yeah,
depending
so
on how you fill up the rest of the sentence, it could be like eating. Never mind.
That's
okay.
what I was hearing.
Ending the podcast.
Ah.
Ending the podcast.
So-
have
no,
no.
Dior's answer
Dior.
on Diablo 2 is also interesting.
Thank you, Chariot Rider, for riding us through the hell and back. It's been great. Miss you. You're a really nice guy.
He's riding in like Diablo 2. There we go.
Kevin,
We
when
talked
we gonna
about
do
Diablo
weed?
2.
I'm done school in like a week.
Okay,
Why?
Kevin, it was like a just funny joke to
Yeah,
end this.
You gotta
fucking
do
thing.
like Tillamook cheese.
Tillamook weed. Get your best
Oh my god.
drugs from
All right.
Tillamook.com.
I'm stopping
Alright.
my recording.
No, you guys can leave if you want. I want to talk about the Diablo 2 answer because it's interesting
Okay.
that it ties into what I was talking about earlier with multiplayer games
Do we
and
all just
co-op
leave
games and how that can really impact a
We're
person.
just fading.
Also
we're
based
fading
on your
out,
environment.
And the podcast has ended at this point.
No. It has not ended. It will never end. We will keep on going. And
999
if you don't
years.
like it, you're not a gamer.
You're not a
and
real
I
gamer.